We're officially recording.
Oh my god, here we go.
Welcome everybody to the inaugural episode of the Cinema Sessions, a Dubliner's Guide to Cinema with myself, Keith, and with Seamus.
Hello everyone.
Welcome.
Pleasure to be here. Yeah, we picked, I think it's a good film to start off with. Oh, I hit a lead there, so let me repeat that line. I think we picked a good film to start off with. It's a film that still lives large in the public consciousness, it's resurged a bit recently with meme culture and all this, which we'll be getting into. Yeah. And the film is what, Keith?
The film that we'll be doing today is American Psycho. Mm-hmm. So this is Seamus's 4K copy of it, which he watched it on. Uh-huh. And I believe they're going to break down a bit.
I do have a little spiel. On the off chance people aren't familiar with this film, I think it's fairly well known, but I just thought, for posterity's sake, we'll have a bit of a rundown of it. So, American Psycho is a film from the year 2000, directed by Mary Harron and written by Mary Harron and Guinevere Turner, starring Christian Bale as the titular psycho Patrick Bateman, a young, rich, handsome and successful man with an ill-defined job on Wall Street in the 1980s. The largely plotless film follows him as he navigates the superficial and highly judgmental social circles he moves in, while simultaneously being a deranged serial killer. Or is he? Adapted from the extraordinarily controversial novel by Bret Easton Ellis, the film was released to so-so box office and mixed reviews by a bunch of limp-dink pussy critics who complained about the subject matter and violence in a film that's not even that fucking violent. The film has a 64% rating on Metacritic and is 68% on Rotten Tomatoes Criticometer, which is a word I made up. Since its release, however, the film has become something of a minor classic. Cult classic doesn't quite seem to fit. It has a 7.6 rating on IMDb and an 85% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes, with Christian Bale's portrayal of Bateman in particular entering the public consciousness through endless quotes and memes. On a personal note, I first saw this film on VHS after being told by a friend how funny the hip-to-be-square murder scene was, while another friend of mine never fails to regale with the time he watched it with his father and how horrifically embarrassed he was during the threesome scene with the two hookers. A challenging wank to be sure, but as Guy Ritchie's Revolver repeatedly told us, the harder the battle, the sweeter the victory. So that
well, that's a nice way to open up.
What I'm going to focus on today, and it'll become clear, I think, why, is how my introduction to the film and the personal circumstances surrounding it affects my still how I feel about the film today. I feel like I'll have to justify how I feel about the film, basically. So I've come loaded for bear, as people watching on video can see. I've a bunch of stuff from the past as it relates to this film. But Keith, I think it might be good to start off with you. What was your introduction to the film, and what did you think, and how did you come to American Psycho?
Believe it or not, my first introduction to the film was through American Psycho 2.
Really?
Yeah. So I had seen...
Amazing. I have seen American Psycho 2 as well. Yeah.
I saw the DVD. Mm-hmm. Because it used to be a thing that we did back in the day. We'd go in and we'd just buy a rake of DVDs, and the rarer or the weirder the better. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So at one stage I had 2,000 or 3,000 strange DVDs, like, do you know what I mean?
So this is American Psycho 2. Mila Kunis is William Shatner.
Yeah.
Who sorry to cut you off, but I just remember a friend of mine in school telling me he saw it, and he says William Shatner's in it. And there's a scene where he dies because he gets scared, and he goes back. He kind of moves backwards and he falls out a window. So I was like, well, I have to see it now. Yeah. So did you watch that first?
I didn't. Okay. So, but that was, it made me aware, because I mean, when American Psycho came out, I was 8, so it would have been 7 or 8 years later, maybe 2006, 7, that I would have first found the American Psycho 2 DVD and then found American Psycho. So I wasn't aware, obviously, given my age at the time, the kind of groundswell of attention that it appears to have gotten. Like, for instance, when you brought in the magazines and stuff, this all would have passed me by, so I would have came on late when I watched American Psycho. Now, in terms of kind of initial thoughts, I quite enjoyed the film. I wouldn't go as far as to say, I think your description of it in terms of not quite a cult classic, but kind of that ilk, is kind of accurate. And I think for me, it's more so the performance of Christian Bale that carries the film completely. Because I mean, I think there is a lot in terms of it gets bogged down at certain points, especially like when you kind of get to the point where he kind of starts unraveling completely, and it's like, hang on, he was just in with his wife, and now he's shooting people at his leisure on the street. But again, I think what carries the whole entire film, including some dodgy writing, I think, is Bale's performance.
He is, yeah. He's something. I suppose I'll break the dam on this. I don't particularly like the film, but I have to admit he's, with one or two slight exceptions, I think he is pretty amazing in it. Like he, there is something. It's something I want to get into later, but the way he approached it was from a very outsider's kind of. He's like, I saw an interview with him, and the interviewer asked him, "What do you admire about Patrick Bateman?" And he was like, "What? Well, I don't admire anything about. He's an entertaining person to watch." He does ride a line that I think the film crosses a lot of the time, where he clearly is judging Bateman and he thinks this guy's a complete jackass, but it's never pushed into parody, which some of the rest of the film, maybe not parody is not the right word, but at times I find it has an overly obvious sensibility, like maybe even a cartoonish kind of sensibility at times.
And I think that's the case without the film going down the route of being aware of itself, if you know what I mean. And it kind of it comes across that way. Like maybe the film should be aware, but it's not in a lot of cases. And I think that comes down to the writing and maybe even some of the direction, where it kind of falls, it kind of toes the line of satire and parody, but it never kind of crosses any. It never kind of goes fully down any one route.
It's neither fish nor fowl, kind of a thing. Yeah. I think some of that's the push and pull, like, I mean, and it's something you can't really avoid with this. I would go so far, and Bret Easton Ellis, the guy who wrote the novel, he seems pretty okay with the movie. He's a bit of a, I think he would admit himself he's a bit of a contrarian. Like he sometimes says things just to get a rise out of people, but he's made some comments with a bit of an edge to them. Like I heard an interview with him where he said, well, you know, I don't get any money for it, even though everything in the film is, I'm slightly exaggerating the tone of his voice, even though all the dialogue is from the movie, and I did write a script before, and they basically just used all my stuff. Like the film does have, it's rearranged quite a bit, but it does have most of he's quite right, most of the dialogue is from the book straight out. The way they rearrange it and the sensibilities of the ladies who wrote and directed it. So Bret Easton, this is my key issue, I think, fundamentally with why the film doesn't quite work for me. Bret Easton Ellis is, again, how much to take this at face value is hard to say with him, but he's kind of come out now and said it was based on me. Like that character was kind of how I saw myself. Obviously, you would hope slightly exaggerated, and he does stuff he wouldn't do. At that time, that's how I felt, moving in these social circles. And I'm not in love with the film, but I don't want to be cruel to I don't want to say anything that the two ladies involved, Mary Harron and Guinevere Turner, wouldn't agree with, but they seem to be coming from look at this jackass, look at this fucking idiot. And which is not an illegitimate way to look at it, but I tend to prefer stuff that's a little more difficult, like the way Easton Ellis approached it. It is not a particularly easy, it's a compelling book as opposed to, like, it has way less plot, like it's way more just a few days in the life or a year in the life of this guy than the film is. The film gives it more structure, and I just tend to prefer stuff that's a little more difficult to parse what is going, like it's up to you more in the book, whereas in the movie they seem to be consciously going like, no, don't think that we're endorsing this. And I'm like, well, I wouldn't think you're fucking endorsing it. Like, look at what the guy is up to. I don't need but in their defense, that was a problem the book had, big time. Like,
it's funny you mentioned there that, like, in the book it's kind of just like a few days to a year in the life. The time jump and the different things mentioned in this film. Like it's Christmas and then it's Easter and then it's, like, you know what I mean? It's kind of all over the place. And that's one thing I noticed, and I hadn't noticed previously. I noticed it last night when I watched it back, when I was really kind of paying attention. I was like, hang on. But then I thought, is this part of his psychosis, or is it he's missing time or whatever? Now it's not discussed or it's not shown, but it's just the jumping around and one thing I noticed last night as well is that he has his pills on the side of the sink in the scene. I believe it's the hooker scene, which I didn't notice before either. Do you know what I mean? I thought this. I wasn't aware that Patrick Bateman was aware that he was actually diagnosed with something.
Oh, I get you. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because you see the thing is New York Pharmacy or whatever, and it says Patrick Bateman. So he's obviously on.
He
something.
pops a pill in the Hippie Square scene. Yeah. It's in the book. Easton Ellis, I think it would be fair to say, is an aestheticist, and he uses that in kind of a broader term than, you know. To me, you might actually know more about this than I do, but to me, when I would hear that, I go, "Oh, he likes pretty things." But what he means, especially as a novelist, is, although he's a kind of a frustrated film director, I think at heart, I think what it means is, you know, how does the artistic side of things carry things? And he was very big on this should be a mentally ill person or a person who is a psychotic, how their mind works. And he really I'm going to read a bit from the book later on, but like he commits to that like 100%. And to me, when I was reading it, that was kind of obvious, but as I say, I can kind of understand why the people making the film would feel, well, we're in danger of being misunderstood here if we don't kind of make it obvious. But as I say, they kind of were taking it from the outside looking in, and I just tend to better appreciate stuff that's written from a more difficult point of view. Like the threesome scene with the prostitutes in the book, he writes it as if they're having like the time of their lives. Like he's like, oh, you know, I was doing this and they were having multiple orgasms and all this. I can read that and go, that's probably not right. Whereas in the film, and I actually I think that's, for me, that's the best scene in the film, where their point of view really pays off, because they especially wanted to give the female characters a lot more dignity. I'll kind of go into it later, but that scene,
the dignity of which that Patrick Bateman does not have for women, clearly throughout the whole thing. He's he may have a few issues. At the risk of sounding woke, he may have a few issues with women, this guy. But as I say, in the book, it's up to you. Like, you know, you can just read it and be like, oh, this is terrible. Like, sex workers don't feel that way about their clients, Or you can be, you know, this, and it is something I would have to say I was disappointed with Mary Harron, the director, with. I heard an interview with her where and we can maybe talk again about this. I keep referencing what we'll be talking about later. Leonardo DiCaprio was attached to this for quite a while. And she was questioned about the casting of that, because obviously Wolf of Wall Street is not a million miles away from the Patrick Bateman character. Now, in her defense, at the time, he'd just done Titanic. He was a pretty boy. He wasn't a serious actor.
Nowadays, actually, I'd say to a modern audience, they'd be like, fuck yeah, sign me up. Leonardo, he'd knock that out of the fucking park. He is amazing in Titanic. I want to go on the record as saying that. If you had seen that movie in the cinema and the way he captured an audience with it, like, he's really terrific in that. You can argue it's like, you know, mainstream horseshit or whatever. I do think that film's fantastic.
You get no argument from me. I love Titanic.
But at the time, it did seem like that's not going to work. Like, I remember in, what film was it? Like, even like when he grew facial hair, like for whatever movie, I was like, Jesus, he can actually grow a fucking beard. Really, he just seemed like
nobody cared until I grew the beard.
Exactly. But she was questioned about that, and, you know, the Wolf of Wall Street, and she said, well, that's actually something, you know, I didn't like about that film. I thought it kind of endorsed the way that he treated women in it, and I was like, you know, you would hope she'd be a little more like the person who directed American Psycho, a very misunderstood film. I was like, well, can you not see what Scorsese was at? And again, I actually don't love Wolf of Wall Street. To me, my big issue with it is it's kind of Casino Part 2, or a remake of Casino almost. But Scorsese, to me, is the most impeccable moral filmmaker of our time, because like the final shot of that film, where, you know, sell me the pen, and the camera kind of drifts out, and you're like, oh, that's us in the audience, and there's a fucking load of people who are like, that's not me, I don't fucking. It just, well, they're human beings, like we all have these impulses, and he lets you. He doesn't have me hit you over the head now. He's such a skilled filmmaker. He pulls it off anyway. But I was a little disappointed that she'd be like, oh yeah, well, you know, and I'm like, well, how obvious do you want him to make it? Like, I'm a moral person and I can be presented with these things. So again, that sensibility of let's make it obvious, you know, this is bad. And that to me is where the film and the book, where it compares unfavorably, say, with the book to me. And I want to be clear, like, there's probably people who are like, oh, the book is trash and all this. I don't quite know what to make of the book anymore. When I was a 16-year-old edgelord and I read it, I thought it was the greatest thing I'd ever read. For the purposes of this discussion, I'm going to take the book seriously, but I'm not a literary person. Like, I can't really judge it. I appreciate what it does and I take it seriously, but is it an amazing book? No, but the film seemed to miss the point to me, or at least
there's kind of a lot of that with Americans, or even characters like Patrick Bateman. There seems to be a lot of miscommunication to audiences, especially young men, and like who idolise these characters. And it across anything, it could be Jordan Belfort in The Wolf of Wall Street, it could be Patrick Bateman, it could be Walter White in Breaking Bad. It's kind of he might be the inaugural member of. If you think he's the hero, you didn't get the point. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And that seems to be, because I think it's very relevant today. Because I mean, obviously it's set in 80s Manhattan, Wall Street guys and all. But you look at the type of people now who are champion Patrick Bateman today. They're all crypto bros and, do you know what I mean? And all that type of thing. It's all the finance. It just seems to be, even though it's kind of a different, it's not fellas in offices in Wall Street anymore, it's fellas on the computer at home mining Bitcoin, but it's the same mentality. It's just it's almost like you have to be a certain way or have a certain disposition of mind to get into these kind of institutions or kind of jobs, careers, like finance, all that type of stuff. You have to be a certain bit touched. Yeah, for want of a better way to put it. Like,
there does seem to be something pathological about those guys, and actually, I think that this is what our American friends might call a book wild take on this, but I think the fact that they tried to make the movie more, they certainly commercialized it. I know it doesn't maybe seem that, but compared to the book, it's quite commercialized. I think that has ended up backfiring, and it's one of the reasons that Patrick Bateman, I can kind of see why people take him that way. Because first, well, it's Christian Bale and he looks fucking like a million bucks of this. Like, he's fucking jacked and he's super like handsome.
In the opening scene when he has his ice pack on and the beautiful piano playing and all, and he's doing his stomach crunches, I was like, Jesus Christ.
Exactly.
You know what? They're not questioning his sexuality. It's like,
he's something, all right. He is something. Yeah.
But I think it's that's one thing I wanted to mention. The opening in that film, the piano, the beautiful piano playing, and his kind of, I wouldn't say monotone, but dead delivery of the opening kind of narration, and that coupled with the beautiful visuals of him doing his morning workout and his deep apricot body scrub and whatever else. Like, do you know what I mean? And I in terms of taking me in, like, it completely did. The opening scene, like, it's just because it kind of juxtaposes like beautiful music but listen to what he's saying and how he's saying it, and it's kind of, do you know what I mean? It kind of confuses the nervous system as to what you should be feeling. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's one of my favorite scenes as well. There is just something. That's one of the scenes that's kind of, you could even say, morally ambiguous, which might be strange, but it's like, the guy has a great fucking routine. He looks amazing, and like, some of that is just, you have to visualize the film. Like, if it was an ugly fucking guy who just thought he looked amazing,
it's like, that what do they say about if Christian Grey, is that his name?
Oh,
in 50 Shades of Grey. If he was a bloke, an overweight mechanic, he'd be locked up. But because he's a billionaire, like, you know what I mean?
Handsome Jamie Dornan looking motherfucker. So what happens in the, and I don't know what's this conscious on the part of them, but by making it more commercial in the film, he kills people. There's a few exceptions. The homeless guy that he kills and the lady on the street, they just seem to, you don't see him explicitly kill. The one at the fucking pedestrian crossing, which is what we call it here in Ireland, not a crosswalk or a sidewalk. he kills her for no reason. You don't see it, but then he kills the bum for basically not. But even that, I think that comes after the business card scene, so you could kind of say,
yeah.
But he in the book,
which we'll have to talk about in more detail.
Oh,
I think
time.
that might be that because whether you like the film or not, I think that scene in terms of telling you about a group of people,
it's become iconic.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. But like the murder of the Jared Leto character and everyone else, they're motivated. So the guy annoys him, so he kills him. So he does this, and I think you could. In the book, it's way more random. He does kill some people for some reason, like he's jealous of that guy, and there's like an ex-girlfriend character of his, but it's far more random. Like he does just murder random people for no real reason. So
which sorry to cut across.
No, go ahead.
Which is the point. Because someone who's suffering from psychopathy or sociopathy or whatever you want to call it, they don't get hurt. It's not. Is he just a narcissist? Because I noticed this a lot in the film. Is he is like even his reaction to Paul Allen when he hits him with the axe. Try getting a fucking reservation at Dorsia now.
Yeah,
that's because he's been hurt. He's been pissed off, and I don't know if a true psychopath or sociopath would be that hurt over it.
Yeah.
Now it seems very narcissistic to me because obviously that wound him because he can't do it. He can't get a reservation at Dorsia. Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
See, there, I can't remember from the book. I just remember from the book that he just called like fucking bastard, fucking stupid. But I don't know. I could be wrong about this. I'm open to correction. I don't know that he mentions the Dorsia thing, but in the movie he does.
Yeah.
And they make a point. This is again sometimes in the movie, like when they're having dinner, he's like, "I could have gotten us into Dorsia," you know. And I'm like, okay, yeah. Like, you know, fine. But you can't then. So he's a guy, right, who doesn't like this guy and is like, I don't like him, so I'm going to fucking take him out. Whereas in the book, it is just madness. If you're going to make it, he kills this person for this reason, then he becomes a guy who goes out and gets what he wants.
Yeah.
He's a guy, you can see the crypto bros being like, hey man, he's just fucking, he's hustling, man. You know, you got to fake it till you make it.
By any means necessary.
Yeah, and like what was the other murder in it? But like your man pisses him off, so he kills him.
But even what he says when he kills the homeless guy in the alleyway, and then he stomps out the dog, which I completely forgot about.
Yeah.
Then I saw it again, and it's mad how we can sit there and view human beings being killed all day, and it doesn't seem to bother you. But as soon as a dog or something that can't protect itself, and then that's funny, like, oh my god, what a prick.
Well, you should read that scene in the book. Holy Jesus.
Yeah.
But as I say, I think part of the reason is they tried to make, funny enough, the people who really wanted to hit you over the head with this guy's a bad guy, I think they made decisions that ultimately kind of led to them, because it is not the book Patrick Bateman that these guys idolize. It's the Christian Bale version.
Yeah,
so like he's a guy, someone's in his way, so he kills him. Or I forgot about the other one. And they say it on the audio commentaries on the disc. You know, he kills the second scene is not it's actually a character played by the writer Guinevere Turner. He gets her to get it on with the prostitute character, and then he kills her. But there's a scene where she goes, oh, he's talking about Whitney Houston, and your one goes, oh, you like Whitney Houston, tee. And on the audio commentaries, the woman, they go, oh, you know she's dead now because she's insulted us. And I'm like, well, then he's doing it for a reason. He's not just doing it because he's sick.
He's a psychopath.
So again, it just becomes a thing of they kind of not normalized it, that wouldn't be the right word, but they made it more understandable. And I just think, well, they created
a motivation.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Which is whole definition of, like, if you look at even the old slasher films, like Michael Jackson, I was going to say Michael Jackson, but,
maybe
he's scary for other reasons. But Michael Myers, he's scary because in terms of, obviously he has the ultimate goal to kill his sister or whatever, but everything that happens in between that from start to finish is random. If you're in the way, you just need to go. But he's not. It's not. You know that he's just devoid of anything. Whereas with Christian Bale, with his performance and also the writing and direction of it, he's motivated. He has a reason to be killing these people, except for one or two exceptions. But I think that takes away from the whole psychopathic.
I agree. Yeah. And again, it was kind of like they were hoisted on their own petard, I think is the idiom I'm looking for there, which is kind of ironic. Like they they had the opposite intention of what they want. I don't think anyone would idolize the guy in the book, whereas what they ended up doing kind of led. Now again, are those people misinterpreting the film who idolize him? Of course they fucking are. If you want to look like Christian Bale and follow his skincare routine, yeah, but like the thought, because the other writer, Guinevere Turner, says people come up to her and say, I am Patrick Bateman. And I do have to wonder, like, what the fuck does that mean? Like, do you have a good skincare routine? You go to the gym, but like
that's kill people.
Yeah, or like, what does it mean? Because you don't see him going to work or doing any. You see him in work, but he doesn't seem to do anything.
But yeah, like, no, but that's the thing. But
so what does it mean?
That's always the case in any film, like about those kind of Wall Street guys. Is they spend more time at lunch than they do anything, because at the end of the day, when you actually read into what these kind of investment bankers and all these kind of lawyers and all this, what they actually do, it's all about just talking to people. In terms of striking an actual transaction, they might do that once a month and they get paid obnoxiously well for it. Like they might get 2 million quid. Do you know what I mean, for one thing? But it's all connections and all that type of stuff. That's why you don't see him do it. And like, do you know what I mean?
Well, that's kind of it's funny enough actually. A lot of people kind of harp on about the capitalist angle, and I don't really see that in either the film. Obviously now some of it's there, and the title American Psycho seems to, I mean, it's a great title, but it seems completely appropriate. Yet if you ask me if the film or book is very political, I would kind of say no. Which is, I think, why I react to it. I tend to react to things that focus on more primal emotions.
I don't know, but I don't know if I'd say that it's not. I'd say it probably leans right, and the reason I say that is because in the opening minute there's talk of Israel, there's talk of anti-Semitism, there's talk of returning to Judeo-Christian values. Well, but see, the thing is, it's Patrick Bateman saying that. So you don't know if he's just saying that or...
that was actually... I did come across a pro Patrick Bateman kind of YouTube video, and the guy singled that out. You know, one of these guys who fucking...
let's get the women back in the kitchen and
needs to fucking get offline. But he's like, he has to sit around talking social justice points and all this. And I'm just like, mate, like, what the fuck do you think he is? Like, I genuinely do not see, apart from the fact that Christian Bale looks like a fucking Greek god and the fucking thing. I don't, and it might be just, maybe this is why we're fucked at the moment. But like, I don't even see what you're getting at here. Like, what is because I don't even think the film, as I say, they went out of their way. Their mentality was, this guy's a fucking idiot, and let's show that. Whether or not that comes across, but like, he doesn't function in a successful way in anything that he does. Like in the book, actually, he's way more socially like, fucking, I just want to fucking get this done, Jesus, and all these idiots are getting in my way. He's an ineffectual character. So I think people, again, might latch on to that. That guy was in his way, so he took him out. And again, it just completely backfired on them that, we want to make it obvious that he's a bad guy, but we have to make it a conventional film, you know, so we can press things.
Well, like, I mean, obviously we might go through kind of, not scene for scene, but we'll kind of go through the arc of the film. Because I think it'll kind of give us some structure here. But like, so obviously we spoke about the opening scene and how visually stunning it is. The character, I think a lot of it's to do with the quick shots and the
she's very stylish director.
It was very beautifully done. Like, and I really noticed last night. I went, jeez, you know what? That's actually really good, and it's because I was actively watching. Because you know yourself, like, I mean, in this day and age, the credits are on, you're still checking your phone or whatever. But I made sure that it was just locked in, like, do you know what I mean? And it really took me in. And then it kind of switches then, and it's, I believe, they're sitting around dinner, isn't it?
Well, actually, now this, you bring up my first reaction to the film, because I'd read the book, and as I say, I was a 15 or 16-year-old fucking edgelord, and I thought it's amazing, and da-da-da-da. The actual opening scene is in the fancy restaurant, and I thought, I still have major issues with that, mostly because, and I think as I say, Mary Harron is, the set pieces in the film are, whether I think ultimately like what they were getting at is amazing, they're really well done. She's a very, very good stylish director. The problem with the opening scene is it's a scene of multiple characters interacting, and I don't think she's particularly good at that.
Yeah.
And some of it is a low budget problem, because that opening restaurant, I'm like, what the fuck is it?
It looks like a house.
Yeah, it looked terrible.
And it looks like somebody's sitting room. Like it looks like.
I have to put that down to budget. I was just like these guys. And the other thing that bothered me, and I hate to say this because as anyone watching on video, I don't have the fullest head of hair that I ever used to have around, but the guy in it, Justin Theroux or Theroux, I think he's now wonderful actor. He's as an actor, I think he was right for that part. However, and I noticed this even before I knew what these terms meant, he has a very receded hairline. Like he has, it's way back up.
That's the fellow with that's the slick back.
Yeah, he's the guy. Jesus, what else? He's in Mulholland Drive. He's an amazing actor. He was married to Jennifer Aniston. Like he doesn't need me to fucking.
He's not worried about his hairline.
Doesn't give a shit what I think of his fucking hairline. Like but he shows up in it, and I was like, and in the book, if you had his hairline, you'd be fucking ridiculed. Like you wouldn't fit in that. The book really harps on about that. Like there's a scene in it where Bateman freaks out over like the mousse he has in his hair, and someone says, "Are you thinning up top?" And he fucking freaks out.
Because they care so much about the aesthetics.
Yeah, and
you know what I mean? More than anything else.
Yeah, that really stood out for me. I was like, that's a mistake there. That combined. So that very opening scene for me, I know a lot of people seem to like is it blood? No, actually it's sauce on the thing. And I was like,
cranberry sauce or something.
Yeah, like it's not terrible. It doesn't really do it for me, but it's not a bad idea. But the shittiness of the location, and I hate to say it, so if you're watching, Justin, I think you're an amazing actor. You're very, very attractive. But it just was like that guy. It doesn't matter how charismatic he is or whatever, because he's a very charismatic actor. It doesn't matter. They would just judge him for that.
Yeah.
And then I found the way seemed to be going for this rat-a-tat kind of film noir kind of thing with the four guys and, Bateman and his arsehole mates. And it just fell flat for me. I don't know whether that's just not her skill set or whatever, but...
See, because I think once we see one of them kind of powwows that they have sitting around the table, do you know what I mean? We don't need to see it the other 2 or 3 times that we do see it throughout the film. I don't think.
For me, those scenes just don't work at all, so it kind of doesn't register. In the book, those scenes are fantastic. Like they're hilarious. Like
I think it's important to include, because we have to we have to know, and we have to know early on that these people aren't nice. They're not good blokes.
No.
Do you know what I mean? And that's very clear in how they speak about women, how they speak about each other. Because it's not even when they're ribbing on each other, you can tell that there's a seriousness behind the eyes. They're laughing and joking, but they are dead serious. They are in competition with you. And I do feel that we need to see that as the audience. But the only thing, my only issue with it is we see it about 4 times. Do you know what I mean? In different parts of the film. It always comes back to a lunch somewhere or a dinner. Or like, even when he's we'll get to it, but even towards the end when he's kind of unraveling and he's doing his big confession, it's around the table and they're all doing the same thing, of just ribbing on each other and talking about women, and it's like we've seen it.
Interesting. I really have to be upfront. Like I just kind of filter the film through my understanding of the book, and I just think those scenes don't work anyway. So like the fact that they're repetitive, like the scene where they're like, there are no girls with good personalities. I'm like, the way that it just doesn't snap or flow the way that I think they wanted to. Like I'm just like, the timing wasn't quite right on that. Some of it again could be budget. On the commentary she has, just so everyone knows, on the fucking the film must be quite popular because they actually have a new commentary by the director on the 4K. But she'd already done one, and she just basically does the same fucking commentary back again. But she talks about how there's a scene with Patrick Bateman and the secretary Chloe Savini, and she goes, Chloe was angry at me because we only did one take of her close-up, and it was a budget thing. But I've noticed, I've watched 1 or 2 of her other films, and she doesn't seem to be amazing with actors. She often has one key main character that kind of carries the film, but with the support, it doesn't seem to be her strength really, because actually, funny enough, on that there's a deleted scenes thing, and they introduced the deleted scenes with interviews with cast members, and there's one with Willem Dafoe, and he's kind of like, Mary, when we were filming the club scene, she was very interested in like what all the extras were wearing, making sure it was authentic. You'd normally leave that for an assistant, and the way he said it kind of was, I got the feeling like he was like, what's she wasting her time on that bullshit for? Like, why isn't she talking to the actors? Now again, if Willem Dafoe is watching, you're amazing. I love you. Drop us a line, we'll put you on the show. But I got the feeling that she was, and again, it pays off in the scene. The set piece scenes are fucking really snap. Like the hip to be square, the scene with the scene with the threesome scene with the prostitutes, the like anything that's like based on someone doing something, moving from sorry, the other one of the scene in the apartment where I'm Patrick Bateman and blah blah. Those scenes really fucking work.
Yeah.
Because that's where her strengths lie. I think she either it's a time thing or it's just not her strength.
She mightn't value it as much as maybe she should.
Yeah, it's again she doesn't seem to be into those characters. Like you can tell she really likes and it pays off in the three-way scene. She's really wanted to emphasize the female characters, which again is not a terrible instinct, but again it's. You're working from the fucking book. Like, why why are you just changing it because you can't make a film out of the book, verbatim? Which, again, I told you I'd use the word bourgeois. So here we go. Like some of the attitudes I heard from people, like, well, obviously you couldn't film the book. Obviously, Leonardo DiCaprio, his audience is 13-year-old girls, and I was like, what kind of fucking attitude is that? Like, why couldn't you can't make a studio film? Okay. But at least be pissed off about it.
Yeah.
At least be like, I wanted to do a scene where it was fucking as violent as the book, but they just seem to like, well, you can't do that.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
because even when he beats, you don't see on screen. You see them leaving bruised and broken.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But you don't. Yeah. I know. So would you think that was a budget thing, or they wanted to stay away from?
To be fair, actually, in the book, that's exactly how that goes.
Okay, yeah.
It's the scene with the homeless guy and the Paul Allen thing. Like they are. To be honest, I don't really have a problem with how they portray them in the film. I think they're fine. My only issue with the violence is with the scene where he drops the chainsaw on your one, and I was like, "What the fuck is that?" Like I just. On the commentary, Mary Harron was like, oh, people were saying, oh, chainsaws don't work like that, oh, that wouldn't happen. And I was like, no, just see it, it'll work. And her attitude was like, and as you can see, it worked. And I was like, well, it doesn't work.
No.
I don't get what you're... Because she was like, oh, I really wanted people to feel the pain of this character. And that character, actually, I have that actress's name, Cara Seymour, who plays the more working class kind of prostitute. She is amazing. And
she's very good in it. She is.
That casting... is like there is a great film of what Mary Harron wanted to do with this, and I think you see it when she shows up, because she is someone who is like, what the fuck is this? She does not, she
doesn't fit in the world.
She has this perfect like working class kind of like, what is this fucking bullshit?
And there's like there's a sadness.
Yeah,
there's a melancholy or something.
There's a resignation almost, and
you can kind of tell, like, it's when the high class hooker shows up.
Yeah,
you kind of just the juxtaposition of the two of them, because you can tell that she knows this life. She knows the Wall Street guys and the weird requests and all this type of stuff. But you can tell, what was her name?
Cara Seymour.
Cara Seymour's character, that she probably doesn't want to be there. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's portrayed very well by herself.
No, that whole scene, I may as well just talk about the threesome scene with the two prostitutes there. That is like, okay, this is the film Mary Harron wanted to make, and it can really, really fucking work. Like the way, I have a slight issue maybe with the way he monologues about the singers, because those are, just so everyone knows, in the book there are just chapters where he just writes Huey Lewis in the news, like a review you see in a magazine or something. Yeah. So I think making them in, like, if you want to put them in there, it's a good way to do it. Do you really need them in there? Blah blah blah. But that scene is kind of perfect, and it's not the most famous scene in it. The most famous scene is the murder of Paul Allen, which is fine. I understand that, and the opening scene. But that scene, I'm like, this is a movie she wanted to make, and she fucking nails it. And I think that actress Cara Seymour makes it work. Now Bale is great. The other girl is very good.
It's fantastic. Like it's so well directed. It's so well shot. The performances of each actor in it.
Yeah,
is
the way it's framed, like the way he just through barks orders at them.
Through the shot where they force, and we're looking in through the doors, so it's framed by the thing, and you can just see them on the bed, and just even that, it's just a beautiful shot.
No, it's brilliant. That's it. It's better than whatever they say. Like the scene in the book is just kind of as I say, written through his sensibility, and he's like, oh, they're having a fucking amazing time.
Yeah.
But it captures like some of the idea from the book. This guy just purely is like, this is what life is like, right? It should be perfect. I'm in a tuxedo. Like apparently Christian Bale saw an ad in a Playboy that said the perfect gentleman's evening or something like that, and it was a picture like a guy in a tuxedo with two women, and he's like, this is what Bateman is trying to do.
Yeah.
And how creepy he has to be to get it. Do this.
Yeah.
Stand over there.
Because I mean, films can fall victim to this where the music will tell you what to do, or fast cuts will tell you how to feel. But this does it through the building up of his performance and the how he's telling them what to do and whatnot. And like, I have to say, like, I mean, it's a grotesque line, but one of my favourite lines in any film ever is, don't just stare at that arse, eat it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, apparently I think that line was cut initially. That's the only scene that there were any cuts to. Who would have fucking figured this shit out? But yeah, no, it's subtle. It's amazing. The use of the song is like perfect.
Yeah.
The way he's preening at himself, the way the girls are acting. Like your one character, again, I kind of looked her up. She does some TV and stuff. Like she seems to be a working, successful actress.
Still, like,
yeah, she's like there's a scene, and Mary Harron actually said on the they're bored at work. I actually think it's better than that, because you can see your one character, she might be high or he's getting her drunk. She's sitting on the bed and she's like, this is kind of stupid, isn't it? And she's like waving at the camera, and it's.
But that's one thing that I did notice, which I actually I would have noticed on previous watches, but I really noticed yesterday. He's drugging everybody.
True, yeah.
Like you don't overtly see, you do see it one stage where he's I think it's towards the end, the scene just before he kills Cara Seymour's character, where you see him with the spoon and he's mixing up a cocktail. That's the only time you see it. But Paul Allen isn't just drunk, he's dosed up, and neither are the hookers in that scene. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, he was. I can't remember with the book. I think he just seems to say that Paul Allen, like again, how reliable is he? You know,
that's the thing. That's the problem with the unreliable narrator. We don't actually know. It's like we'll speak about the scene of the business cards, right? Because well, obviously that's an iconic scene. It's one everybody knows. Yeah, it's used as parlance for a particular type of bloke. I can see him comparing business cards with, you know what I mean? And people automatically, even people who mightn't be cinephiles or people who haven't seen American Psycho will know what you're talking about. Scene, do you know what I mean? And they'll understand what you mean by it. That's how good it is. But like, this is just, I think it's I don't know if, because everywhere you look, it's a black comedy, black as tar, and I don't view it as that. Do you know what I mean? I don't find it intentionally funny at any stage.
Interesting.
Now, I do find that scene unintentionally hilarious, but I'm at a loss then thinking, well, is it meant to, were they making it to be hilarious? But I don't know if they were or not. I think black comedy is something that was attached after this. This wasn't in any.
Really?
Yeah.
I find that fascinating because, at the time they were saying, it's kind of hard to tell. I believe at the time I saw some interviews where they were like, no, it's supposed to be funny. It's supposed to be a black comedy. Like,
but it's just not. But if you're going to go down that route, it has to be really funny.
Well, I think interesting because that
scene is hilarious because it is amazing. Like the way they're compared, and they're all the exact same. Like pretty much.
But they
like Patrick Bateman's is bone, which is kind of just maybe a shade off white. Yeah, and then one of the lads has a white one, and he can't believe it. Yeah, and I love that. This is one thing I was coming around to with the unreliable narrator. So that scene, to me, that reads as Patrick Bateman telling of what's happening rather than it actually being in that room. Because if you see his reaction, there's no way nobody in that room goes, "Hang on, what's wrong with you?" Yeah, do you know what I mean? Because he's like so intense, and he's so I feel like that's Patrick Bateman somewhere else telling us of what happened there.
Interesting.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I get you exactly. Yeah,
because I think it's hilarious just how, because every time the camera cuts back to him, he's more fucking.
He is amazing, that scene. To give my perspective, in the book, that scene is a lot subtler. So I watched the film and I was like, oh, come on, you're kind of fucking hitting this. Like a lot of the things people love about it, like he opens a thing and it's like shoot. Yeah. To me, and I still kind of can't shake it. I haven't read the book in years. I still kind of feel like it was kind of a bit better in the book, because in the book it just you're living in his head.
Yeah.
And the film for me just pushes it a little too far with some. The close up on Bale is amazing.
Yeah,
like that is
really
what
good.
you want. Like that, the scene is all there. So I don't know. Again, it's obviously I'm kind of on the wrong side of history here. Like everyone loves that scene, and there's a greatness. As I say, that shot of him, like impeccable. Apparently, he could sweat on cue perfectly every time, Christian Bale. But that's just. But in the book, again, there's so much stuff like that where he's so kind of self-obsessed and he's self-pitying. Sorry, is the word. Like I can't remember what the thing is, but something very minor happens to him. Like he can't get a taxi or like he can't get a reservation, and he goes. And I realize how bitter and cold and cruel the world can be. Like this guy is nothing right. He's like, oh God, like things are so terrible. This guy's a fucking better business card than me. Oh God, the world's like.
But just because that's I think it shows just, and really successfully, just the mentality of these people. Because obviously it's alluded to in the opening scenes. Do you know what I mean? Just how fucking obnoxiously arrogant and self-obsessed these people are, and they're clear misogynists, all that, but it really drives it home, and it does it to really successfully, if you ask me, is in that scene. And the way Paul Allen floats in and then he's gone, and then they're all, show me Paul Allen's card, let me see it, and then he shows it to him, and then that's it. He's just gone. Like he makes the decision then, I'm gonna fucking kill you, like, do you know what I mean?
You know, there's actually, and again, just to go back to something I said earlier, the reason he tries to kill Lewis Carruthers, the guy in the toilet where he kind of freezes and the guy just kisses his hand. In the novel, he just kind of decides, fuck it, I'll do it. Again, I'm open to correction that. But in the movie, the guy shows him his card.
Yeah.
And that triggers him. Certainly that's not how it happens, because actually how the scene with the business cards ends in the book is like he's freaking out and then he goes... And then someone shows us Lewis Carruthers' card, and I'm relieved at its shittiness. And we just kind of move on. And I was like, that again, this book is very, I would say, skillfully written. And the social kind of comedy of manners, which sounds weird because that's what you call a fucking Jane Austen thing. But that is what most of it is. Like him. Well, what's fascinating about the book, and again, this is why I kind of like it, because it's contradictory in ways, but this is a really deep topic that I'm going to try and figure out from here. But Bret Easton Ellis says, I was researching this for like a year, and, you know, these people, they're basically like they are in the book and film, like completely vain. They never seem to do any work. They don't want to talk about work. It's all about what restaurants, all about who's fucking who, you know, But I was sitting down to dinner and I just decided the main character is a serial killer. Like it just kind of snapped at him. And I keep coming back to what is he getting at? What does it mean that you put, like, why is it the world that's driving him insane? Was it, you know, was he always like this? Because if it's just like, oh, what would it be like if a serial killer was a Wall Street broker? That's, even the film, like they're getting at more than that. And so I'm thinking in the book, it's clearer, like this is driving him insane. This is where he belongs, but it's still driving him mad. Like people won't do what he wants, and this banal conversations that just drive him up the wall, which is kind of absent from the film. They don't really go into that. Like you see him with some of the girlfriends, and he's just like, oh, whatever. But in the book, he's way more infuriated, and like his psychosis seems to be, again, in the real world, he'd just be a psychopath who has mental health problems. Blah, blah, blah. But in a work of art, it means something that he is a psycho in this environment. What are they getting at? Obviously, they're getting at who would notice another madman around here. And I just, again, find that, again, if you ask the people who made the movie, like, why is he a psycho in this milieu, if that's quite the word I want, what does it mean? I don't know that they'd have a great answer, or they might just say, oh, well, the point is, you know, who would notice him? You know, they're all so cutthroat. But this is the point where I may read from the novel. I ultimately think the novel's greatest satirical success, and I've never heard anyone else say this, so again, this may be what our friends from the USA would call a book wild take. I think he's kind of making, but again, this doesn't necessarily fit with everything in the book, because he does seem to be like, I'm sick and tired of this fucking bullshit. I think the point they're making is this guy and what he does, these murders, they're the logical next step in this obsession with surface and nonsensical kind of superficial things. Like, doesn't it make sense that he's a serial killer? Doesn't it make sense that he describes them in pornographic detail?
Yeah.
So if I may, I'm going to read a little bit from the book here. So if anyone, this is kind of famous about the book, they go into inordinate detail about like what people are wearing. So I'll just read a few bits here. Price seems nervous and edgy, and I have no desire to ask him what's wrong. He's wearing a linen suit by Canali Milano, a cotton shirt by Ike Bihar, a silk tie by Bill Blass, and cap-toed leather lace-ups from Brooks Brothers. I'm wearing a lightweight linen suit with pleated trousers, a cotton shirt, a dotted silk tie, all by Valentino Couture. So that's them talking. That's every scene. There's a detail like that, what the people are wearing. Here is him talking about... next to the Panasonic bread baker and the Salton pop-up coffee maker is the Cremina Sterling silvered espresso maker, which is oddly still warm, that I got at Hammacher Schlemler. The thermal insulated stainless steel espresso cup and the saucer and spoon are sitting by the sink stained. And the Sharp model R1810A Carousel 2 microwave oven with revolving turntable. That's how he talks about things and about what people wear. Now, here's one of the murder scenes. And this is, again, I'm reading this, be warned, trigger warning, or, it's out there. But isn't it just a continuation of the way he talks about everything else? So this is the scene where he attacks the homeless person, which is pretty mild in the film. Like, it's a disturbing scene. Yeah. Though I have some issues with, I think it's a budget thing. The guy does not look particularly homeless. He doesn't look dirty enough. In the book, he makes a lot of points about it. Do you know what a fucking loser you are? He starts nodding helplessly, and I pull out a long, thin knife with a serrated edge, and being very careful not to kill him, push maybe half an inch of the blade into his right eye, flicking the handle up, instantly popping the retina. The bum is too surprised to say anything. He only opens his mouth in shock and moves a grubby mittened hand slowly up to his face. I yank his pants down, and in the passing headlights of a taxi can make out his flabby black thighs rashed because of his constantly urinating in the pantsuit. What is the difference between how he writes that scene and the other scenes? There is no difference, and I think whether it was conscious or not, that's what he was getting at. It's all fucking empty and useless. You may as well be doing this, or this is the next step these guys are going to go in. Because again, it's in the
natural progression of
he's kind of like the ultimate expression of what these people are. Now, and it is in the book, but in the film, they make a point sometimes again on the audio commentaries. Oh, you can see how they're weirded out by what he said here, because they're not this guy. And to me, what they're getting at, and I say, I've told you before, I'm the son of a small business owner. Capitalism did okay by me. Yeah. But that's the kind of key point he's making here, and it's a point made in a very extreme way. Like, the book is very extreme. Like, it's kind of edgelordy, for want of a better word. That's kind of doing a disservice to him, but he's pushing it. He is a guy who doesn't mind giving you the fucking middle finger, like Brady knows.
Yeah.
I think that's his strongest point. It's like, what's the fucking difference? What's the difference between caring about whatever bullshit's in your fucking house, the way you treat people, the way you talk about women, and doing this? It's just, where's the fine line as defined by that society? And that, to me, is what makes the book interesting, and where the film definitely was not going in that area. Again, maybe they couldn't. It was going to be a commercially released film by Lionsgate, which were adjacent to a big studio or whatever. Yeah. But again, if the film is missing that, then to me, you're kind of missing the point of the book, the key bite of the book. Because a lot of the reviews that like the film were just like, oh, these fucking Wall Street arseholes. Which is fine, but it's different from what make the book successful.
So the thing is, I think when it comes to, especially film critics, especially in America, I find a lot of them have liberal arts degrees, and they have a certain way of thinking. So when they come across a film like American Psycho or Wolf of Wall Street or any of these kind of finance bro, that's where it stops for them. They see this is just them. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Whereas they're not willing to go on the journey because they don't like the characters or the people who have to bring them on the journey, whether that's Patrick Bateman or any of the kind of finance bros or anything like that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, it's like, why do you need to be told these guys are bad? Like, exactly. There's a great moment. It's too long and it is boring. But the recent Scorsese film Killers of the Flower Moon. Have you seen that? Yeah. I don't know if you remember, there's a scene at the end where the guy's at a court case and the guy is talking about how he murdered someone. And the guy goes, so you murdered her? He's like, yeah, murder, killer, shot her in the head. And then it's a close-up on the guy who is the murderer talking about it in the courtroom. And then the lawyer goes, you ever go back to that area? And the guy goes, oh yeah, it's a good place to, you know, bring a few women, have a few drinks. And I was sitting in the cinema watching it and I was like, okay, now they're going to cut to someone going, oh. And he never cuts. He just keeps it on the guy's face. Yeah, and I read, I'm the fucking guy.
You're in the courtroom.
Now, in the defense of every other film director in the world, Scorsese, it isn't a fucking accident that he was able to do that. He didn't do that casually. He is a great filmmaker, and that scene is successful because he's great. But that's what I really react to in films. Is I'm like, oh, I can make,
because it makes it a participatory
experience.
Then
and he's calling on you to be moral. Like, why do I need to show you this is bad? You fucking know it's bad.
Yeah.
And that's
where I think this kind of falls victim to itself in the sense that without, I suppose, no, actually, it doesn't. I don't know if there's enough space for you to be the moral driver of the film.
To me, the best scenes in it are the scene in his apartment, the murder of Paul Allen, and the scene with the threesome scene, because that has the least. It just is like.
We're showing you what's happening.
In the scene where he murders the guy, it's fun. Like, it's funny. Like, I remember a friend of mine go, it's really funny. He's dancing.
Actually, that's one thing I wanted to ask you about, get your opinion on. How much do you think that was Mary Harron's direction, or Christian Bale kind of, because we know, like, I mean, if anybody's seen the video of him on set of Terminator Salvation, he's someone who takes himself very, very seriously.
Yeah.
So I don't think he comes to a scene like that without. Do you know what I mean? How much do you think that was direction, and how much do you think that was just him?
He did seem to have a huge amount of input over the character, and the only thing Mary Harron said that I can remember was he said, I want to moonwalk. Because the idea was he's exuberant, and it really the film does not tell you why he's acting out of character from everything else, yet it's still like he's not like that most of the time, but here he's like, fuck yeah, I'm gonna fucking, I hate this guy, I'm fucking so, but again, like, it's hard to say. Definitely the moonwalk thing and being so exuberant, obviously he executed it very well, but she does a fucking great job as well, like the snap of it, like the editing where he pops the pill, and it's just really great. That is really playing to her strengths, that scene. And again, she doesn't have to tell us, like, actually it's better than that, because it's like, hey, he's enjoying himself, why don't you fucking enjoy yourself too? Like, it, and we would be remiss if we didn't mention this was how many years after Reservoir Dogs, another famous torture murders. Well, he doesn't actually kill the guy in that scene, set to kind of a catchy pop song. It's less.
Do you know what? I never actually connected that together. That Huey Lewis, because obviously it's a famous scene. Like, I mean, as soon as I hear, "Do you like Huey Lewis?" Like, that's how I'm in. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And I've seen it played in like different contexts, like different films and different stuff where they try and play around with that. Do you know what I mean? But I never actually connected it to Reservoir Dogs and the fact that the Huey Lewis and the News is playing. Hip to Be Square is playing while all this is going on. And do you know what I think that is? Now that I actually think about it, I think it's because I'm so engrossed in the character in that moment. So I'm almost I've stopped listening to the music. Do you know what I mean? Because I'm so.
Yeah, it didn't jump out at me immediately. It only kind of occurred to me when I was kind of thinking about it, so we'd have to talk about it. But you try and place a film, like, the film does fit in a certain context of what is essentially like an independent film with. They should have had more money, frankly, but it had, well, Christian Bale. What's funny, actually, if anyone watching at home, it says on the cover of this book, now a major film starring Christian Bale. He was not a particularly fucking
big actor at the time.
Yeah, a lot of people mention Velvet Goldmine, which I don't think was a big hit. I think it was a film people noticed, and he was in the Spielberg film Empire of the Sun. But it's kind of hard to tell. Like, this is the British version of it. He's a British actor, and you know, the fucking Empire and Told Film are creaming over him because he's British, which is fair enough. He's a fantastic actor. But shit, where was that? As it compares to Reservoir Dogs. The budget at the time. it's a well-produced independent film, which is a very 1990s kind of a thing. You know, obviously Tarantino was kind of... Tarantino, would this film have been made if he weren't...
If he didn't...
kind of making violence, you know, like...
called So This Could Walk type thing.
Yeah, I think so, yeah. Certainly, it definitely
It's not a hot take, I don't think, to
No, I wouldn't think so, no. The film kind of fits into that era of... you know, slightly independent filmmaking. Apparently, when it was going to be, I don't know if I really believe
studio
this.
Adjacent. I wouldn't call it independent. Yeah, studio adjacent.
And Lionsgate are them kind of ones called major indies or something like that.
I think there's a lot of we can maybe in future episodes we can go into a deep dive in this, but all this kind of a lot of them are owned by the major studios.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's why I say studio adjacent. Like they're independent, but
they definitely.
Really.
Well, this actually the film misses that. Like big studio thing, like the opening to that fucking restaurant is horrendous.
Like, it looks like it's someone's. It looks like it's a country house.
Yeah,
it doesn't look like it's a.
No, these are people who
Manhattan.
Yeah, these people would. I think they do try and. Oh, this is a chicks restaurant.
Yeah. They do say that. Yeah,
that's not gonna. Sorry, it's not cutting the mustard there. No, what it. Apparently, so
if that chick is your grandmother, then maybe it's the whole restaurant. Like,
yeah,
do you know what I mean?
It's in the development of this is interesting because Bret Easton Ellis is a very interesting guy. He was developing it with David Cronenberg, who wanted Brad Pitt to be in it. I think this must have been early in the 90s. It was kind of before. I think he mentioned, I've got this guy from Thelma and Louise. Okay, that's how early it was. And apparently David Cronenberg said, I don't want any scenes in restaurants or in nightclubs. Pain in the ass. And I only want one murder. And make it 70 pages long because I shoot long. And I was like, what the fuck was he interested in? Like, what was he getting? Now, he might have made something interesting.
Maybe but it probably wouldn't have been American Psycho.
Yeah, it was obviously the wrong kind of thing. Apparently, he turned in a fucking draft and he was like, no, what the fuck is this? And then it's weird, actually, how publicized it was that DiCaprio, like Mary Harron and Christian Bale, in the interviews here and like at the time, openly talked about... Yeah, they wanted to fuck it up by putting Leonardo DiCaprio in it and give it to Oliver Stone. And the talk was they wanted to give Leo $20 million but keep the budget the same. And I was kind of thinking, there's no way that would have happened. Like someone would have said, we can't fucking have a big Leonardo DiCaprio film with a set this shitty. Or Oliver Stone as well, if he were to direct it, it couldn't be the same budget because he'd get a fucking shitload of money as well. I find myself wondering what that would have been like. That was the Natural Born Killers era, kind of Oliver Stone. It would have been interesting, but it was just amazing how openly they were talking about, they really wanted to fuck this up by putting Leonardo DiCaprio in it. But again, at the time, I think that was kind of accepted. This baby face.
Think about it. Like, I mean, if you look at the kind of films that he was in and around that era, it was Titanic, it was Romeo and Juliet, it was The Beach, and he was the pretty boy. Like I mean, even me as a young man, like I was like. It was just as baby-faced at 15 or 16, like, do you know what I mean? Going, I think he can't act. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas, I don't know, I wonder where the turning point was. Was it The Wolf of Wall Street? Or was The Revenant before that?
Jesus, I think Revenant was after Wolf of Wall Street.
Because there is Leonardo DiCaprio is an interesting one, and we'll probably speak about him in a future episode more kind of in depth. But because it's almost like a switch. Just one performance from one film, and then he could all of a sudden act. I
remember in Gangs in New York thinking this doesn't work.
I think it's the accent more than that.
I love Scorsese, but that film does not work for me at all, and he just seemed out of his depth there. But then I remember he made a run of films like Catch Me If You Can.
Catch Me If You Can's a fantastic
film. He
film.
just had a run after that, and I was like, I don't think he's put a foot wrong since he was in Catch Me If You Can. Like I remembered The Departed. I was like, is he going to be able to pull this off? And he did.
That's what it is, I think.
Yeah,
that's
what
I'm thinking of.
Yeah, that was a tougher kind of a character.
From babyface to the hardened.
That was
in that film.
Yeah, and people probably that was a question mark. At least in my mind, I was like, is he going to be able to pull this off?
Actually, we'll put a pin in The Departed. We might do that now in the next
fascinating
couple of weeks.
Film, because the original Hong Kong film and all that.
Yeah, Infernal Affairs.
Yeah, it was just people forget now because he's the guy who can kind of do Anton and he's Leo, and you know, if you're over 25, blah blah blah. But he was at the time, it was a question mark. Can this guy sustain his career? Like doing something like The Wolf of Wall Street again, doing something like this was unthinkable. Like when Mary Harron talks about it, like again, she's under pressure sometimes in these interviews or whatever. She just goes, "Oh, Leonardo, he's just." his audience are 13-year-old girls. You can't do them. Like, what kind of fun? Maybe that'd be fucking great. Like, you know, really fuck with people. Like, you really want to push it.
You look at it, because when you see some actors and they take, say if they're a comedic actor, they play a serious role or whatever, that tends to be fantastic.
Yeah.
In a lot of cases, like, do you know what I mean? Like, I think of Jim Carrey. Now, I know The Number 23 isn't a great film, but it's a great performance. Eternal Sunshine of a Spotless Mind. Fantastic performance. Yeah, because he has some real acting chops. I think Steve Carell has done it. I think Jason Bateman has done it. Like, where they take on a more serious role, or something that's obviously in Leonardo DiCaprio's case, in the context of this film, it would have it would have been just a more mature film. Rather than... It
might have been a bit try-hard, you know. Might have been him like, oh, you think I'm fucking just Jack Dawson? Well, look at it. Who the fuck knows? It's an interesting...
He could have ran away with it. I find it hard to see anybody else as Patrick Bateman.
He is,
but that's just because Christian Bale is...
Yeah, he does nail it. Yeah, it is. I mean,
it's like for parts where the film falls flat, and sometimes, like I was saying earlier on, like there's a time jump thing, and it's like sometimes I'm like, hang on. We'll bring it home now and go towards the end of the film. Like, so he's sitting in and he's breaking up with Cecilia.
The Reese Witherspoon.
Yeah, who is absolutely wasted in this film, I think. I know she probably wasn't.
Yeah, it does seem to be. This is, I hate to sound like the fucking critical drinker, like Ben Shapiro or something, but I noticed even at the time, the critics seem to be like, oh, the women in the film are all fantastic. And I'm like, they don't, it's not their fault. Samantha Mathis is, I must have seen Broken Arrow, the fucking Christian Bale, John Travolta. I adore her. She has nothing to fucking do in this. Reese Witherspoon, the same. They're kind of asked to be a bit cartoony. Yeah. This is another example of the different sensibilities in the book. And again, they made a point. Mary Harron and Guinevere Turner were going to beef up the women. In the book, the Samantha Mathis character is like, this isn't fucking Dorcia. What are you playing at, motherfucker? Yeah. She's pissed off and she's like pushing back. Now she's still shallow and superficial. Yeah. In the film, it's like very cartoony. Are we in?
Yeah.
Like it's just like
he's after drugging her. He's after. I don't know if that happens in the book.
I just kind of took it as she's just kind of out of it. But I was like, again, I'm just like, oh, that's kind of an obvious joke, isn't it? Like it's
because that's a lot of them. You often see that in these kind of finance bro kind of films. All the women are dosed up on
they're all depressed and they're on Xanax or whatever.
The cocaine in the morning to keep them up.
Which is interesting because these people live in this world, but obviously there seems to be they're pushing back again. Like she's dosed up because she's not happy. And actually, the Justin Theroux character, they have a deleted scene. Where it's obviously in the book where he just kind of, they're at a nightclub and he's like, I'm getting the fuck out of here. Like he just snaps and you're like, oh man, these people actually aren't happy. Like it's not it's
all performative.
Yeah, you get
everything about them is performative.
When you're living in it and you're like, oh, these people have it all fucking figured out, but no, they're actually kind of falling apart. But again, in the film, they kind of shortchange the actresses because they make them a bit more cartoony. Like it's just inherently more cartoony to be like, I'm so wasted, I don't know, we're in the wrong restaurant, as opposed to I don't know, they just make things very obvious. Like in The Secretary, the Chloe Sevigny character, who, funny enough, the Guinevere Turner, the writer, on her commentary track basically says, I think she was miscast. She's like, she's just very dreamy and she's kind of out there, and this character is more, real, and you're supposed to feel sorry for her. In the film, they don't go to Dorcia. In the book, they do, and Bateman gives a fake name. And it gets ended to, and there's a scene of social embarrassment where the people whose table it actually is show up, and he's sweating and he's like, oh come on, and you're one and again it kind of made her a real character. She's like, oh Patrick, you're so spontaneous and you're so crazy. She kind of buys into it in a more believable way, whereas in the film, I remember actually, funny enough, a friend of mine said, oh, I saw that American Psycho. This is back in fucking secondary school, in 5th or 6th class. Friend of mine, I watched that American Psycho. This is what he sounded like, that's why I'm doing the voice. That scene where he's holding a nail gun and he's like, I guess I want a meaningful relationship with someone special. And I remember even, again, what a fucking pretentious wanker I was like, yeah, that's a little obvious, isn't it? I mean, come on. Now, in their defense, that kind of moment works really well in a film. Those jokes, the scene, the joke where she doesn't realize she's not in Dorcia, it works. It's a film kind of conceit.
It's okay.
But again, if their thing is like, well, we want to give these women more. And again, to bring it back to the reviews, these women are all amazing. Cara Seymour is.
Yeah,
she is fantastic. The Reese, they are just wasted. They're fantastic actresses. Yeah.
Because I know. Like, for instance, I hate to bring up another film, but if you look at Once Upon a Time in Hollywood and the blowback that Tarantino got for the underuse of Margot Robbie, which I think is quite the opposite, because I feel Sharon Tate in that film. I think the presence and her performance is what speaks without her having so much to say, but I feel it. Do you know what I mean? Whereas in this, they are quite literally just there. They're placeholders. Like, we can't have only men talking in this film, so we'll just give them a few lines. That's what and which is so strange for a female director and then two female writers. Yeah. That they just, like, obviously the Cara Seymour character has such levity and she's brilliant, and she's brilliantly written as well, and brilliantly cast.
Well, she's getting at what they really want to say with it as well. Like, that character has, like, it's in the film for a reason, whereas I think the other ones, they're kind of hamstrung by the fact, well, what are we supposed to do with them? They can't solve the murders. They can't fucking do on. Which they do try and do with the Chloe Sevigny thing, which I found really fucking lame. That she finds, I'm just like, what does this fucking matter? She finds his diary. Who gives a shit?
Yeah, so that's the thing. Right, so we'll move on here, right?
Yeah.
So after the scene where obviously Reese Witherspoon is wasted, he says to her, I need to return some videotapes, and then opens up this mad scene of which you don't know if it's really taking place or if it's just him off his meds, essentially, because the whole the ATM is asking him to feed him a stray cat. He's shooting people at his leisure, and the police car blows up.
Yeah,
but even when that happens, now this is one thing I wanted to say as well in terms of time jump and all. Like, there's this feeling I got when I was watching it last night, and it was, I don't know if that's happening immediately after he leaves that restaurant, or if it's... Do you get me?
Yeah.
So this is what I'm saying about the time jump kind of issue that I have with it. It's like, I genuinely don't know if this is a week later, or a month later, or a year later. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the whole thing, as well, is when he blows up the police car, he even looks at the gun himself, and he's like...
Yeah,
how did that happen?
I fucking hate that. That's so like, I'm like, I get it. The cop car blew up. I don't need a fucking give me a fucking break.
But see, that's the thing. Is that him going, I don't even believe this.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
As he's trying to.
What is your take on it, actually? Because I remember in the book, and I think you can read the film this way, in the scene where the guy is like, I had dinner with... That guy is fantastic as well, by the way. The lawyer guy. Yeah. Because that's the kind of role I was like, I would have thought they'd bring in like some kind of a name actor for this, like someone with a bit of status. He's not a very known actor, but he just has the right weight for it. He's very, very good. I took it in the book anyway as like, I think he does kill people. That'd be my thing. But whether he kills everyone, but in the book, it's just kind of like they always are mistake. I know it's a thing in the film, but in the book, it's all the time.
Yeah,
that's so and so, and it's not. I think you're so and so. People calling each other the wrong names. In the book, you just read it as like, he's mistaken, like he just thought it was Paul. It's Paul Owen, I think, in the book for whatever.
Okay, yeah.
Whereas in the film, apparently the director was like, I'm really annoyed at myself because people think it is all just in his head, and I wanted it to be ambiguous. And again, that might just be...
They just made it so obvious when she finds... Because I remember when I first watched it at about 15 or 16, I assumed it was all in his head.
Okay.
Because with Chloe Sevigny, he's drawing it. He's writing it down, but he's not actually doing it. Do you know what I mean? And I think that at certain aspects, this is the problem when you have to be a really skillful writer and director to deal successfully with an unreliable narrator. Because what can happen is, what's kind of happened here is 50 different people will have 50 different views of something which wasn't your intention. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, again, it's she just seemed upset about, and actually on the Charlie Rose show, who's a guy who got me too'd, actually, I thought maybe I should mention that, but he was a good interviewer now, I gotta say. Oops, shouldn't have said that.
Cancelled already.
Yeah, fucking gone. Mary Harron said, which again, I admire her honesty now. This is as the film's being released, and said, I think I failed a little bit, or she uses words to that effect, saying, people seem to really just think it is all in his head, and I wanted it to not be clear. I wanted it to be ambiguous. Bret Easton Ellis, he said right in the book, he said, I never decided whether it was all in his head or not, which I think is an interesting way to look at it. I might pull him up on that a bit. Like I'd be of the opinion you should make a decision yourself.
Yeah.
But reading the book should be, or interacting with the art should be ambiguous. But again, who the fuck? They're both pretty interesting works, I would say. So yeah, it's funny to me that it's obvious to, because again, I remember I read the book first, so I remember talking to a friend of mine at the time, and he's like, "Oh, come on, it's all in his head. Come on, like the way he looks at the gun, the guy is still alive." And I was like, okay, some of it might just be in the translation, like you see a person on screen saying, and again, it's done again. Maybe it's just in the direction, but the guy is like, "This isn't funny. I had dinner with him twice," and he doesn't say it in like a kind of a vacuous, I'm an idiot. This is the like truth. I am telling you,
I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, and again, I can see how that might be something Mary Harron wouldn't think would read as completely convincing. But, and again, I had the outside thing of the book, and I was like, well, it's supposed to be ambiguous or whatever.
Yeah.
But someone just coming raw to the film, I can kind of see like, yeah, it does just seem. And again, she has no one but herself to fucking blame if you're going to do a shot of Christian Bale going like, oh, what's my gun doing?
Because as soon as I saw that, and even in previous viewings when I wasn't looking at it in such an active, analytical kind of way, I went, well, obviously he's telling a story, but he doesn't believe it himself, because he's like, no way, this little 22 just blew up these two cop cars.
Yeah, which is an interesting kind of angle, I guess. But
there's another thing, just from a technical standpoint. Right, so from where he breaks up with Cecilia and leaves the restaurant, it jumps straight into this whole running down alleyways, in and out of buildings, and everything. And I just found that the pacing switch from the standard just talking in the restaurant to bang bang bang, I don't think it works at all. I think it's too. It doesn't make sense to me that the pace goes from the bang and then it's like a mile a minute right up until he gets back to the restaurant. Funny enough, and he's sitting with the guys and he's all
frazzled.
He gets he goes back to his office and rings the lawyer. Yeah. So up until that point, it's kind of like, whoa. You're sitting down and you're relaxing watching it, and then you're all of a sudden like this. Something's going to happen, and then the only payoff is he gets to the office and rings his lawyer and confesses everything. And I found myself afterwards going, like, what was the point in that? Why did it need that sudden jolt of?
Yeah, well, it's the
testosterone towards the end.
Like. Again, it's funny. Again, I can only say it as someone who read the book first, but now I think about it, I can kind of see. Because they tried to put a structure on it,
because what I think is the issue is they spent a lot of time developing the character, a large amount, and it is a very character.
And then he just goes nuts.
And then they're trying to shoehorn in his everything unraveling. That's what I think it is.
So it's a bit too sudden.
It's too like bang. That's something that should be slowly progressing from the start.
In the book, it's they have a lot more time. There's a lot more scenes of him. Yeah, geez. And again, I think they're kind of let down by the fact that they've been trying to justify things, but like you kill someone because of this. So what provoked him going so nuts? I guess it could seem like it's coming out of nowhere.
Exactly. And it's like, and it's just from the pacing point of view. It's the one thing that really just annoys me a bit. It's just because all of a sudden I'm relaxing, I'm enjoying it, and then bang, my nervous system is heightened. I'm like, what's going on? There's something happening. There's something going on. It's quick cuts. It's all this something that's not used in a lot of the other the previous say hour and 20 minutes. There's no reliance on quick cuts or there's a lot of soundtrack music that's kind of pushing you, and it's quick and it's fast, and I'm like. What you've done is you've kind of spent all this time building up the character, and now you have to break him down extremely quickly. Yeah, that's what I think. I wouldn't say so much as a mistake. I just think it was a bad artistic choice.
Was it a bit Game of Thronesy, Daenerys Targaryen?
Like, let's just do it.
Yeah, like it makes sense, but they didn't necessarily build it up enough.
I don't think it made perfect sense. I knew what was going on. But just in terms of the film and the narrative arc overall, it's too quick. Do you know what I mean? And that's what takes, because up until that point, I thoroughly enjoyed the film and what it's trying to achieve. But that's where like it loses a few stars for me. It's just because you're trying to shoehorn it. Because it's like, obviously the cinema is about showing and not telling. But even though there's not a lot of dialogue, I feel like you're trying to tell me without something really quick.
Yeah, that
do you know what
again
I mean?
comes back to Mary Harron's, I think, sensibility. Like she's maybe a little literal minded at times, or like she just like I'd kind of put that scene in the same box as the scene where he's chasing her through the corridor with the chainsaw, and I'm just like, well, what? Like, there's a great bit. Sorry, going completely off fucking track here, but the Matrix films, I don't know if you've ever seen, they brought out DVDs with critic commentary tracks on it, and the critics did not like the second and third films.
Yeah, for
and
obvious reasons.
Yeah. There's a bit in it where they're talking about, Neo can fly now, and the guy goes, oh, he's kind of like Superman. There's like 3 critics, if I remember. And he goes, yeah, doesn't even the music here kind of reference Superman? And one of the other critics goes, yes, and I can't help but ask, to what end? And I kind of go like, okay, you're doing a horror movie thing here, you're doing an over the top thing here, but to what end? Like, what are you getting at? Like, in the book, to be fair, I don't think the chainsaw thing is there. Like, no way the fucking I think he just kind of murders her. The scene with the cops,
even the thing about that scene that annoys me as well is that he's following her with the chainsaw, like this, and then he drops it dead center on it anyway. Yeah. So what's he doing? Like, why is he doing this? And then he just drops it on her from.
I get. I just have.
And the angle that it's in her, that's all.
And again, like she might just say, oh well, it could just be all in his head, but I'm just like, it just doesn't fit. Like it's just out of step with the rest of the film, I think.
Even if it's a case where it's all in his head or it's not, you could at least make it look plausible, more realistic. Because no way that's going to drop. It's in our side. Like this. There's no way that's happening. Like, I'm trying to rack my brain here, and it doesn't happen. It's
maybe she tripped her.
So she falls on her side. And
that scene and those 2 scenes again, I'm just like, oh god. Like she seems to be like kind of an uneven director. Like those are set piece scenes, and I know I said she's very strong at those, but she, again, to what end? Like what? Because in the book, the scene with the cop car is there, and he does write it in that kind of language. As I say, he's kind of a frustrated director. So there's bits in the book where it's like, hard cut to this. The film runs out of the shutter, and he kind of makes references and stuff like that. But it's, again, if you're gonna step, because actually the scene with Cara Seymour where she's escaping, she says like, oh, this is her point of view. She's trying to get away and you want to sympathize with her. And I'm like, well, then what the fuck is he dropping the fucking chainsaw for?
Yeah, exactly.
If it's her point of fucking view,
and then
and if it's all in his fucking head, how can it be her point of view? Like,
if it is meant to be her point of view, what would have worked a hell of a lot better, if you ask me, is if we're going down the stairs with Cara Seymour, and then maybe she looks up and sees him with the chainsaw.
And cut to black or something. Or
do you know what I mean? I think that's much more. That would have kind of made it much more enjoyable. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? If that's what you're going for. It would have been more. At the end of the day, we're over his shoulder as he's doing this. So it's she can say what she wants. It's not what it is. Like.
Well, she kind of committed to an aesthetic, I guess, in that scene, and it just kind of let her down. I'm like, you gotta, again, like, who's to say, maybe they were just fucking in a rush, or it could just be they didn't think it through. But it did just seem to me to be like, oh, this is how you shoot scenes like this, isn't it? I'm like, well, I guess. But again, she seems like slightly maybe an undisciplined director. I haven't seen enough of her films, but again, she's uneven, because some of the stuff in this is fucking brilliant.
Uneven is a fantastic way to do it, because at times it feels like someone else is directing this.
True, that scene in particular with the chainsaw is like, what?
And then also you have the scene towards the end where it's so fast paced, and everything else has been kind of more laid back and more structured and more kind of.
Which is where her strength lies.
100%. Like some of the scenes and some of the shots, like for instance in the business card scene. Like I loved the right over and they're just sliding it into centre.
No, I have to say now, the scene to me is a little, again, compared to the book, but like the way it's done is impeccable. Well yeah. No, she's a great way of framing, and the snap of the edits and all this. Yeah, she's very,
and the way it keeps cutting back to Christian Bale, and every single time he's worse and worse. I know, it's so well done.
No, it's very
I wonder how they shot that. Would they have just had the camera on him for, like, say, you just get more and more intense
probably,
as things go on, and then we'll intercut it, or was it a case where it was different setups and what?
It's hard to say, but the way they talk about it, it just seemed like they just had a camera on him and they just ran it for the whole scene.
And that's the way to do it.
Pay dividends.
Because he's such a strong actor that you're able to do that.
I know.
You know what I mean? You can just leave a camera on him. He's going to give you something like.
Shall we talk a little bit about Christian Bale and how amazing what stands out to me, he's amazing in this film.
Yeah.
I cannot take that. Again, there's one or two moments where I think it's just...
He carries you through a lot of the flaws in the film.
He's very compelling. Yeah, he's very... There's only one... I think the scene where he's kind of doing the Whitney Houston monologue, I'm like... He should be sitting, but it's just a tiny fucking stupid thing. But the way he's kind of positioned and like some of the line deliveries in that monologue just don't really work for me. That'd be more of they might have been in a rush. He's just been given direction that doesn't make it seem like it works or something. But in terms of the two films I think kind of define where he sits for me. He's done some films where that's what I find amazing about like Willem Dafoe in this. Love the guy. As well, I think. Yeah. And it's like nothing. He's like, what's he bring to it?
If you're bringing someone like Willem Dafoe in, you need to let Willem Dafoe be Willem Dafoe.
Give him
something to do.
Whereas Christian Bale's had a few. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Whereas Christian Bale, like the Terminator, whichever one he was in, could have been anyone. The two films for me that sum up what's unique about him are The Fighter and Le Mans 66, or I think it's called Ford versus Ferrari.
Yeah, I think it's different in the US.
Yeah, I have not seen all of his films, but what makes those films for me...
nobody else can play those characters.
They're as specific as character parts, yet they're as ingratiating to the audience as fucking nearly DiCaprio is in Titanic.
Yeah.
Like, if to see them, I didn't see Ford versus Ferrari in the cinema, but to see The Fighter in the cinema and how the audience comes over to really, they're kind of unattractive characters, like they're arseholes, especially in The Fighter. And the fact that he balances those, I know everyone thinks he's a fucking bee's knees, but he's undervalued in terms of that is amazing. I cannot think of anyone else who can pull that off. Like, this is an unattractive character that everyone fucking just by the end of the film is totally on their side and amazing. He was, if you're watching Christian, I'm sorry, he was a bit of a weak Bruce Wayne. I thought he was a good Batman.
Yeah,
I just thought
this is the age-old debate.
Yeah, when Ben Affleck did Bruce Wayne, I was like,
he's better.
That's the way.
Bruce
yeah,
Wayne.
like he's like the way I always say it is when Ben Affleck was talking to Gal Gadot in that. Now, is it a better film? No, it is fucking awful. Batman vs Superman. But the scene where he's talking about Gal Gadot, I'm like, yeah, he wants to fuck her.
Yeah.
He is like, I'm enjoying talking to you, and I really want to make love to you. Whereas Christian Bale, like with Anne Hathaway, he just now maybe it's he just didn't seem to be like enjoying himself or taking any pleasure. And I'm like, look, it's a big blockbuster movie. Yeah. Can he enjoy being Bruce Wayne? Like, he wasn't bad.
Is it the second one? Is it The Dark Knight? And they attempt to like an eccentric billionaire, and he's dancing, and he's bringing the models from they
do a bit of it, and in the
go on,
in actually watching Batman Begins, I don't watch it as often as the other. They're fantastic films, like I really enjoy them. But Batman Begins is really like way more like mainstream normal superhero. Like there's kind of cute jokes in it and stuff.
Yeah.
And there is some stuff where he's like playing the arsehole billionaire in the restaurant, and he's like, "I'm buying the fucking." I think that's in the first one. I'm buying the restaurant, or
it's when
I think he buys it in the first one. Yeah, they let us move there. Yeah,
I don't really own the place.
Yeah, he does. And I remember at the time there were critics who were going, "Oh, like it's great," and but that tense dinner scene with him and his ex-girlfriend, I was like, "That scene is not tense at all. What the fuck are you talking about?" Like, but again, it just goes to show you're as good as your role. But when he fucking needs to be, he is amazing. And this is maybe his most iconic, I think.
Oh yeah, but, definitely. I think Patrick Bateman. Whether your opinions on the film are good, bad, or indifferent, the character of Patrick Bateman will live in cinematic history, and he will go down as an icon. And a lot of it is to do with,
for good or for ill.
exactly.
Yeah.
But a lot of it is to do with obviously Bret Easton Ellis. It's to do with the film, but primarily it's Christian Bale's performance.
Yeah, actually, we're kind of jumping around here because I know there's some stuff we still want to talk about, but I think our plan for the podcast is to talk about well-regarded films and for, what is good about them or doesn't. So I don't know if you've ever watched any of the behind the scenes on Stanley Kubrick films. He apparently had a thing where he said, all this structure thing is bullshit. What you need in a film is 6 to 8 non-submersible units, which I always kind of took to mean it. You need 6 to 8 things that are fucking dynamite. Like you think in Full Metal Jacket, the drill sergeant scenes. you know, The Shining, the fucking Steadicams. Well, actually, maybe he wouldn't consider those, but for me they are, because you're like, fuck me, I can't wait to get to that. I think these films, and this is considered a classic by people. Again, cult. I wouldn't call it a cult classic because it seems to be too popular.
Yeah, that's why. It's still kind
of. What to you are the non-submersible units that make this? Why is it considered a classic, even though we both agree it's quite flawed? Maybe certainly me more than you. But what to you are the non-submersible units of American Psycho, the film?
I suppose I think the Paul Allen scene.
Yeah.
I think that is just so like, as soon as I hear, do you like Huey Lewis? Even the delivery of the line, it's just like very grand. Even the first time you watch it, because he's playing it so joyously. Yeah. And what's about to happen, you know what's about to happen when he puts the raincoat on and stuff. And I think that is certainly that scene, that whole thing, the way it's shot, the way it's played, the way it's written. I think that, because that's something that you take away. Do you know what I mean? That's something that everybody talks about. I think another one is the dialogue in the hooker scenes, where it really shows you who you're dealing with, I think, in terms of how he's barking orders.
It's very creepy, that
and how it's used, how he gets sharper and more direct the more he says. Yeah. And it kind of builds tension. Yeah. Whereas without it kind of feeling forced, it's just you're naturally getting more tense.
Well, again, there's still meat on the bone to talk about with that scene, because it really is incredible. Like that to me again is okay. There is the film here that Mary Harron and Guinevere Turner wanted to make, and they could have. Maybe they didn't have time in the development, but that is like, okay, you guys have a 5-star film if this is the film, like what you're getting at here. Because again, it's something that should be. I mean, I know it's a 3-way thing and all this, but, you know, it's something that should be enjoyed by all people involved. Yeah. Not to sound woke or anything, but it's something that should be, you know, it's something that is supposed to be a connection between people. Like, I mean, God, I know how I sound here. It's just a dude having a fucking threesome. But it should be something people enjoy, and it should be something, you know, no, there's nothing wrong. I personally don't think if you want to use sex workers or hire them or whatever the proper verb would be. I apologize to anyone that may have come out slightly wrong. But at the same time, it really speaks to the dehumanization, like the way that it's shot, the way that he instructs them. Dancing should be something you fucking enjoy. It's not an aesthetic for something to be happening in the corner of a room, you know. It is.
He's using her as furniture.
Yes, a prop.
It's like like that's what you are to me right now.
And again, I know what's become iconic about the scene is like him flexing in the mirror. Some really funny memes about that.
Stop!
The one where he kind of, there's a hilarious one I've it saved on my phone where he's doing this, like he's pointing with his finger, and I think that what's the meme is like.
But I don't think. Listen, if you've ever had sex around the mirror.
It's impossible.
It's impossible.
I'm a lights off man myself.
I'm not going to be there like this now, but like, do you know what I mean? You do have a look. Like, do you know what I mean? I'm sorry.
That's true.
Maybe that's the narcissist inside me. Well, I've never been anywhere where there was.
So I've heard. I've never been that close to a one before myself. But no, there is there's a scene where that's not true. By the way. I can't prove it, but yeah. There's a meme where he's like pointing, you know, he's pointing at himself. It's fucking brilliant the way he acts. The whole conceit of it, like it's just about him looking cool and being cool, and like it just is without saying it, completely showing you what the film is really tearing down like this fucking idiotic notion we have about ourselves. But sorry, the meme is he's doing like this, and it goes, when you see her mentally challenged brother's sneakers light up from the closet while you're banging her from behind, it's like, you're next, champ. Like, he's pointing like this. And I was like, but there is something like about, again, this goes back to in still images, there's something about Patrick Bateman. The real non-submersible unit, to keep going back to that, is Christian Bale as fucking Patrick Bateman. Like, phenomenal. There's something about, like, but again, in still images, there's something like when you do this and you have muscles like Christian, you look good. What's amazing is, and why the writers and director Mary Harron has a right to feel misunderstood, is in the context of the scene, it's fucking ridiculous. Like it is brilliant the way that they do it. Like, that's what you have to have in a film is, okay, I can see why he thinks this is amazing. Yet it's the most horrendous fucking thing I've ever seen, and it's pathetic. Like, that is where the tension lives. Like, that is brilliant. But when it's memed and when it's taken out of context, images have a power that you can't really control. But again, you have to be convincing. Like, you know, it's I can't ever think of the fucking example, but it's actually it's not correct actually, because I rewatched the scene and I was totally wrong, but I misremembered. There's a scene in Hunger Games where the audience is supposed to fall in love with Jennifer Lawrence's character. Okay. And she's just, you know, she's being interviewed and she's like, hey, this is my memory of the scene. It's actually not quite as bad as I remembered. And I was like, sure, why the fuck would anyone like her? She's just timid and people don't like that. She has to be fucking pushing her. Now she does it more in the scene, but at the same time I'm like, another problem I find is with villains in movies, and I've noticed this, it was really bad in the fucking Last Jedi, where it's like, well, why am I'm supposed to be scared of these fucking people? There's a reason. Like, I get it, it's Trump, he's a fucking idiot and fucking all this, but at the same time, it doesn't matter how stupid someone is, they can still be fucking dangerous. And in the movie, if you make the bad guys these buffoons, where it's like, I did not want the audience to sympathize with them for 1 second. I'm like, well, then you're fucking completely unbalanced in your movie and you're not making it realistic. You know,
the best villains are the ones you can understand.
I think, well, that's why art is more that's why I find the book and the film actually do a good job of, they don't make it, aren't these Wall Street guys a bunch of arseholes? They kind of make it, aren't these guys a bunch of arseholes? Which I think is where the strength in it lies, because if it's too specific, then you're not getting at something we can all relate to. I did see some comments on an article Irvin Welsh wrote for The Guardian, like saying how amazing the film was, and of course there's some fucking dickhead. You know, Irvin was like, it confronts us with our awful selves, you know, that, oh, I don't know about you, mate, but I fucking never fucking, you know, did better. And I'm like, no, I bet you were at school and you said, that guy's different though. Yeah. I bet you fucking did that. I bet you've judged people horribly. I bet you've been at an airport and you're like, I'm not as big of a fucking dickhead as that guy. Yeah. That's where the strength of it comes. If you make it too specific and you made it too much like you see them at work and they're just Wall Street guys and they're just this, and then you sap it of its power. Like, the primality of it is, like, I always, I watched Othello, the fucking Lawrence Fishburne one, and then, like, there's loads of meat on the bone. They're like, oh, fucking Iago's the character who hates him. He hates him because he's black. He hates him because of this. Hates because of that. In the film version that I saw, he just hates him. He just has I fucking can't stand that guy, and I was obsessed with that idea. I was like, oh my god, yeah, why do you just hate some people? And then the Orson Welles version, I watched it, and apparently he was like, oh, he's impotent, so he's jealous of the other guy. And I'm like, oh, fucking, that's weak shit, man. I love Orson Welles, but I was like, I prefer the one where it's like, I just hate people for no reason. And it unnerved me the way they showed it in that film. It was Kenneth Branagh, who's very good. But the more specific you make something, I find sometimes the less interesting it is. And I think the way the film and the book are just like, well, we've all been in a social setting where it's heightened because of where they are. Like, it's amusing and it is specific in some details. But again, they don't like people because they don't fit in. They don't like people because they don't measure up. They're kind of stuck in a situation and like, oh, fuck, I really want to get out of here, but I can't. That's where the strength of it kind of lies. Yeah. We got way off there. We were talking about non-submersible units.
I mean, that's always bound to happen. So what would be yours? So obviously
Christian Bale, the hip to be square scene, the scene in the apartment where, you know, I'm Patrick Bateman. I'm 27 years old. I know we spoke about it at the start, but that scene, just as because there's something about his delivery of those lines that makes you go, oh. Like, this fella did something off with this fella. Yeah, well, you could also make an argument like that scene goes against the whole point of the film, because it does just kind of he does say at the end there's an idea of Patrick Bateman,
but I don't exist.
Yeah,
something like that.
So it is kind of hinting at like this isn't someone to emulate, but you could makes him so attractive. But then sometimes when you're filming something, it just works. Like, maybe even Mary Harron was shocked. She's like, oh, this is supposed to be how empty and vacuous his life is, but there's something appealing about it. But then that's what I find, like, again, at the end of Wolf of Wall Street, you're like, oh, that's me. I'm the person who could be. He's a human being who is just greedy. I've been greedy, you know. I haven't fucking been as horrible as he has, but yeah, I want to live in a house like this. And, you know...
I want an apartment. I want...
Exactly. But what's it ultimately? He has this perfect apartment, but he's not happy.
Yeah, because somebody else has a better one.
He's fucking miserable, yeah.
You will never be... Like, people like that. And and I think a lot of people, a lot of audience members watching will be like that. It's always, once I do this, I'll be happy. Once I get that, I'll be happy. And I've done it myself. I'm guilty of it massively where, that job, I'll be happy. This, I'll be happy. This career, I'll be happy.
Yeah.
Doing this podcast, then I'll be happy. But like, do you know what I mean?
Work this time.
It's just until you get it. And then you're like, no, I want that now.
Yeah, you would think, well, maybe the crypto bros don't watch the whole film. Maybe they fucking, they've the scene selection on the Blu-ray.
Because the bad guy usually dies, like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, they don't, that's, again, I find it actually, something I want to talk about, and I told you this was kind of controversial because the writer Guinevere Turner, she's in, I think it was the Total Film Review on the counter there. They mentioned written by Mary Harron and Guinevere Turner, and they said the lesbian icon from Go Fish. So I looked into it. I couldn't find a copy of it I could watch. Go Fish was an independent black and white. It seemed to be shot on 60mm film in the 90s now about lesbian relationships, which was a rare kind of thing. It would have had to have been shot at 60mm black and white. Yeah. So she herself is a lesbian. Bret Easton Ellis is an openly gay man. So on the commentary, Guinevere Turner says, guys come up to me and they say, I am Patrick Bateman. I'm like, what the fuck does that mean? Are you a serial killer? And she uses...
Because they're homosexual.
Well, she uses a politically incorrect term that begins with the letter F that I am not going to use for the rest of my fucking life. And then Bret Easton Ellis, there's an interview with him where he kind of just goes like, oh, well, they think he's so fucking gay. Patrick Bateman, he's so fucking gay. And obviously... it is a cliched stereotype about gay men that they're obsessed with their looks. At the time this film came out, the term would have been, maybe this was slightly before, it was metrosexual.
Yeah.
Now it's called like looks maxing. It's just been completely subsumed into straight culture now.
But I thought metrosexual was a straight man. But
it was, yeah. But the fact that it even had the word sexual in it was kind of like, yeah, it's kind of gay, but like the guy's straight.
Yeah,
metrosexual.
You're a straight gay man.
Yeah, you're a straight gay man, yeah. Whereas now it's looks maxing, which is there a more masculine way of trying to say
well, it's like
you want to be
like,
good?
I mean, if you have, I saw an advert for like eye cream for men, and it was called War Paint. So, I mean, if that doesn't tell you about the fragility of the male ego. Like,
it's terrible. Sure, fucking, why do they have Pepsi Max? Because men won't drink fucking
same with,
diet.
the Coke Zero is all because men won't drink Diet Coke.
Same
it's the
fucking
exact
thing.
Same thing.
Yeah. And by the way, when I was a 16-year-old edgelord, I was fucking probably 10 times more guilty than any of this. I do have a slight issue with that categorization though, because to me, and again, these are two gay artists who are very successful, so I am a straight white man from Ireland, you know. But hear me out, folks. I find that a little reductive, I have to say.
Okay.
I just find it playing into stereotypes about it. Like I remember the Jeremy Irons version of Merchant of Venice, which they made, I think, 20 years ago. And they basically make his relationship, I can't remember the name of the other character Joseph Fiennes playing, where they like kiss at a certain point and like, because they say they love each other. And I'm like, well, doesn't that play in to the homophobic notion of you must be gay if you say you love another man? Doesn't that saying he's so fucking gay play into the notion that if you happen to care about this, it makes you gay? That is something homophobic people say. Now, am I accusing these wonderful artists of saying that? No, but I don't know. It kind of rubbed me slightly the wrong way. Who am I? Bret Easton Ellis wrote the fucking character. He can say whatever he wants.
That's true. But also, it gets to a point where if you're talking about something 25 years later, you want to make it interesting for yourself more than any breaking new ground for. Because I mean, and I think it maybe, I don't know when this interview or whatever was, but maybe
with Easton Ellis it was recent. With your one, it was 5 or 6 years after the fact. That did seem, to be honest now, Guinevere Turner, she's probably very talented. I haven't seen much of her stuff. She just came off as someone who was like, I was asked to do it, so I kind of did it. Mary Harron, obviously, you know, she had to stick with the project after she was fired and Oliver Stone came in. She's obviously very passionate about it. But again, she just kind of said, well, they asked me to do it. And I was like, And again, Bret Easton Ellis was like, I'm fucking disgusted with myself. I'm going to write a book. She was like, oh, yeah, I'll do that. I'll take that and I'll make it. And again, the film she was passionate about comes out in the three-way scene, and she obviously has, but again, I'm like,
the rest of it's a bit.
Again, I just prefer art that comes from a more difficult place. Inspired place. But again, having said that, to cover my bases here, Bret Easton Ellis needed to write a book, and he just was like, people will pay me to do this. So it's not as pure as the fucking Driven Snow either.
If you were to give, I don't know if you want to go down the route of, if you were to give a rating. So we'll say 5 stars.
I'd probably have to, even after all the nice things I've said about it, I'd go low on it. I'd give it a 2.
A 2.
Honestly, I can completely see why it's beloved and why people love it. I completely get it because of what we talked about. And a lot of people just don't seem to notice things I notice, like, those dialogue scenes don't work. People just don't seem to notice that the way like I do. And it's not because I'm so fucking elevated in my thinking. It might just be, look, I had it in my mind from the book and it didn't match up. I'd give it a 2 out of 5. Yeah.
If I was to put a rating on it now, after I watched it last night, I thought 3.5 out of 5, right? But discussing it today and actually walking through me annoyance at the final 10-15 minutes, I'm going to bring it down to a 3.
Okay.
Because I think it does certainly have its flaws that we discussed, but I just think that the sheer charisma and performance of Christian Bale stands above anything else in the film, which for me kind of keeps it at a kind of higher rating.
It's funny, like most 2 out of 5 films,
I agree.
I like, it would be a better 2 out of 5 than some of them. Like I would watch it. Like it has some moments that are so strong. I probably should just give it a higher rating, especially for the 3-way scene. But I just find myself overall going like, to me it was a missed opportunity, considering what either fucking, you got to go hard or you got to go home. Either just say, I'm going to take this bare idea and make something completely different with the, more of a feminist angle and all this, or just make a 60mm black and white horrible version. Actually, you don't need to go that far, but just do the fucking book where it's from his point of view. And I guess I
think that to translate out, whether if it's solely POV essentially, I don't know if I could enjoy that. It'd
be, again, I would call the book compelling. I wouldn't call it like it's not a fun read or anything. I mean, I remember at the time my take on it was, I think it was my favorite book for like a year or two. Christ on the cross. It's not terrible now, but to give some context,
Teenage Dreams.
I was big into Limp Bizkit at the time. So what does that fucking tell you? Quick side note on that, I find Limp Bizkit stuff now genuinely embarrassing to have liked it. Although that Mission Impossible song they did was
very fantastic.
Whereas this book, I was pleased with how well it stood up. There's actually, I think I sent you a link. There's an audiobook version of it on YouTube where they AI'd Christian Bale's voice to read it. And all the stuff that I was reading there, when I read it, I skip over that. But there's something compelling about it when you hear it read out in that voice. Like it's just kind of this monotone coming at you. I thought it stood up reasonably well, and it is a kind of a young man's book. I do find it fascinating, again, to get us into more trouble. I find it fascinating it was written by a gay man because it's so, and again, this is speaking to ignorances I have, but like what you would expect, this cliche of a gay writer, it's so bro-y. Like it's so like going into morbid detail about things. Like it's very, kind of a straight mentality, what you would assume a straight mentality is for writing a book. Like it's obnoxious. This is actually, it might be something to touch on quickly, is Bret Easton Ellis. If you ever are looking him up and you hear like, after what's happened to Bret Easton Ellis, and he's gone a bit weird and all this, he's basically, he's a kind of an anti-woke person now. He calls himself an anti-Trump, he's anti-Trump. Excuse me. Okay. His take on it basically is, I can't stomach these fucking people who are just like whinging about Trump all the time. which if you were American,
anti-Trump, I get it now. Yeah.
Like he's not pro-Trump, as he doesn't seem as enthused about some of the anti. I saw him on Ben Shapiro, and fucking Ben Shapiro's like, oh, I mean, you either today you have Avengers movies or it's like the wokest thing possible, and I'm like.
Like this Ben Shapiro was a man who stood outside the cinema and burnt Barbie dolls. Like this fella is not.
No,
I mean,
well,
whatever your opinion on his politics or his whatever.
To
but
be
I'm
fair,
sorry, to get that bullhort, to claim that you're not a snowflake.
It's pretty fucking like. Well, when he said, like the thing he said, he literally said it's either Marvel movies or the wokest thing you've ever. And I'm like. Even if you're being hyperbolic, you're fucking talking shite there, man. There's way more stuff in between. Now, Easton Ellis did not, on the interview, he didn't go, oh yeah. But he wasn't fucking shutting them up either. But he is a bit of a troll. Like, he says it himself.
He is, yeah.
He's definitely a bit of a fucking, like, middle fingers, which I, kind of appreciate. But that is, if you ever hear, like, oh, he's gone a bit weird and he's gone a bit wrong and, I don't like all this. Like, if I were American, I can completely see his point of view and I can completely see the anti-Trump people's point of view. Like, imagine... someone who's the antithesis of everything you stand for and they're literally in charge of the fucking country. Got fucking weird there, but again, it's just, it cuts against the cliche of like what a gay writer would write about. Like it's very like masculine, the novel. So again, I just kind of balk a bit when I hear like, I just find that a simplistic way of doing it, because like, again, I grew up in an era where being homophobic was way more accepted. It was just, I remember once a guy came in on it. I'd been working out all fucking summer and I was really, really thin. I was working in a shop and a guy from my school came in and he got, and I, whatever way I was standing, my fucking t-shirt hung a bit weird, and he goes, you got a bit of a paunch there, do you? A bit fat. And I just said, oh no, I wasn't eating near enough, just to go into the fucking roots of this. I wasn't eating enough protein, but I was like lifting weights. But I just said, so my muscles wouldn't actually build that big. So I said, oh no, I just can't get my pecs to work. And your man goes, you gay? Like real, like nasty kind of accuse. And this is someone I got on reasonably well with. Yeah, and I was huh? And he goes, pecs to work? What, are you gay? And I just kind of react against when I hear people say like, oh, he likes fashion or this, he works out, he's gay. And I'm just like, again, and this is again something that, people are switching off because like, oh, it's so fucking woke. But like, it's the same thing of like, people hear certain words, like gay people hear certain words and they're like, oh, that makes me feel bad. I just hear people kind of be a little shallow with it. And I kind of go, that's not really fair it's not really the truth of it. Like these guys, it's amusing that they're so superficial and they're so broy at the same time. It's kind of funny, but it just is a bit of a simplistic reading of it, I say. Having said that, they live way more in that world than I do. Maybe it makes total sense there. Yeah. But again, I just kind of go, even the creators of the fucking work, I'm like, again, maybe I'm horribly pretentious, but I'm like, oh, it's a little bit of a shallow reading there, isn't it, sir? On your own work. But actually, to kind of wind it down a bit, I find it funny. I actually was very unfair to the critics in my introduction there. I said they're a bunch of limp dick pussies who criticize. I was amazed watching back because my impression of the reviews came from these magazines, which they're from the UK at the tail end of the 90s, which was still big into the fucking video nasties and movies in the cinema might influence people's behavior, and we can't even fucking get people to go to the fucking cinema anymore. They really harped on about the violence, and they both gave it good reviews. So again, in my memory, the film was very well reviewed because this was my inroads to that. They both gave it 4 stars out of 5. It was the film of the month in Total Film. So again, in the film's always been well thought of in my mind, but apparently that's not true. For like, it took a few years for it to take off. At least that's what the director Mary Harron says. But the reviews that you can find on like Rotten Tomatoes, I was surprised. They're very, very insightful. They were much better than I remember kind of typical reviews being. A lot of people called it up, oh, this is a cop-out. This film's a fucking cop-out. Oh, you're just... Some of them I don't agree with, but it was like, they make it too specific. Why are you setting it in the fucking 80s? Make it about now. And I was like, oh, interesting. There are good reviews on Rotten Tomatoes, but as I said, the score...
I think in terms of why is it set in the 80s, I mean, if you look at all the kind of finance films.
It just works.
It just is. When you think of finance, bro, you think of Wall Street, 1986, all around.
There's something iconic about it. Yeah, it is. Yeah. It is just like if you're going to make a film.
I don't think it's a cop out. I think it makes sense. It just works.
No. Sorry if I said cop out. No. It'd be like if you want to make a film about the madness of war, you're not going to set it in the fucking Gulf War. You're going to set it in Vietnam.
Exactly.
Like it just
works.
It just works. Like it's a visual thing, you know.
It's not a very. It's not a high toll to buy in for something like that. Do you know what I mean? And that's why I think it's. I don't think it's.
No, there was definitely. Again, it's interesting how not particularly political it is. Now, Bret Easton Ellis. Again, I read. He wrote. Just to give you an idea of where he's at, he brought out the most recent book. I think he brought out. I could be wrong. Is called White, as in like I'm a white man, and it's kind of his thoughts on wokeism and all this and. A lot of in my day, there's literally stuff in it. In my day, we didn't used to do this and that and all this. It's actually he's a good writer, so I was reading it, but oh fuck, I've forgotten what I forgot what I was gonna fuck.
Well, with. Well, we're gonna need to wrap up now because I think
just cut that out.
I'll do whatever.
Yeah,
but
hang on, let me see. I think I've covered all that.
If you've covered everything.
So I'm
in the book. Not sure how long these are going to
last. I think we have about 5 minutes. What the fuck did he say? And I kind of had a half in my mind that it was actually a good thing to go out on. No, something about modern day. Yeah, it's a pretty. I'll just start talking about maybe. It's a lot of like typical anti-woke kind of stuff, like this and that. But he is, as a gay man, you're kind of like, oh, okay,
it's always interesting.
He's just a troll,
because when people think of woke, they assume the gender, the sexuality, they assume these things. Yeah. So when you hear like a Douglas Murray or
exactly
Bret Easton Ellis, when you hear them pushing back against it, that you tend to listen or you tend to pay attention.
Yeah, he's into like a lot of this. Again, it's not like he's wrong. Like he's saying a lot of stuff. In my day, we did this and did that, and I was like, yeah, it's a cliche and it's a bit tiresome, but like he's not wrong. Like things were different back in the day. I'll just kind of speak on about. Now we don't really need to cover the controversy about the book. I don't think. No, like the book was very controversial.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's the cinema sessions, not the
exactly.
Sessions.
No, it was very controversial. Where's the film today? Fuck, what's a good way to wrap it up then? Just leave all this in. It's gold.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's the least bit of editing
as it kind of stands today.
I mean, as it kind of, I suppose, a way to kind of wrap up would be speak about. Briefly on like the film still essentially stands up today, even though it's set in 1980s New York.
Oh yeah, we're talking about the time that it was set, the 80s, how well it fit there. Oh, the politics of it. On the politics of it, because it's called American Psycho, and he said on Wall Street, so you see the capitalist thing. Bret Easton Ellis says he's not a political person, so I think that's kind of why the book kind of works still. I think why it's still relevant today is it's not getting at this has to be the 80s. As I say, I can read it and just go remember the time that I was like, oh, look at that guy doesn't fit in, or that guy doesn't know how we do things, this kind of thing. It's still, it gives it a general kind of a flavor, whereas if it were to be written today, it'd probably be a lot more specific. Like there was just something.
See, I think a lot of media today is because things have gotten so polarized in the world. Like no matter where you are, like whether it's in the States or whether it's in Europe.
If there's a bad politician, it's fucking Trump, like in that Mickey 17 movie or whatever.
Yeah, like I mean,
Jesus,
it's
love you, Bong Joon-ho, but no,
it's gotten to the point where things have to be politically driven, one side or the other.
Yeah, and things are a little more flippant nowadays. I find like you got to reference what you're talking about, or you name drop people. There's some stuff like that in the book. He mentions Donald Trump a lot in the book and all this, but again
sure, it's mentioned in the film. Is that a wanker Trump? Is that, do you know what I mean?
There is just something iconic about that period that just makes it aesthetically, for want of a better word, the best time to set it. Now he actually wrote it pretty contemporary to that, but like if you set it today, it wouldn't quite work. That's why I don't agree with that particular critique. Is there's just something iconic about that time, like the clothes people wore, like it looks like an 80s suit.
The phone,
the phones.
When he's ringing Darcy and he's trying to get and he's pretending that he's like, oh, no, we don't have a reservation. He's like, 2 people, 9 o'clock, thank you.
That scene does actually work. I wanted to bring where he calls up and the guy just starts laughing. That's in the. I actually thought they should have lingered on his close up a bit longer. They cut to kind of a wide shot, and again it's a big part of the book is he's just like the social humiliations he has to suffer. And again, like, because he's trying so hard. But it isn't in the book. I think it happens twice. In the movie, I never liked the way he goes to Reese Witherspoon because I want to fit in. And I always had a picture of, but I read a bit of it last night, and he does say it that emphatically to another character, but I think he says it another time, and I always he's just like, oh, because I want to fit in. Like, he doesn't think about it, it's just automatic.
Yeah.
And again, that is just my specific reading of it. Someone else could look at that and go, oh, there's the character right there. He's trying so hard. But again, it is just that, is he driven, like, he is a psycho in the world of in the reality of it, he's a psychopath who lives in that area. But when you're reading it artistically, it seems to be saying this is driving him mad. Yeah. Whether he actually physically does it or not, that's what I think is strongest about the book. Is it's this guy is just he's inevitable. Like he just, this world has driven him mad, or like it's I just find that a more compelling idea than, oh, who noticed a psychopath in a world of psychopaths, which is a nice conceit, but I prefer the whole this place just creates monsters. I just find that more compelling and a little more challenging than ultimately the film just seems to be a little bit like, look at these dipshits. Yeah. Which again is perfectly legit.
It's legitimate, yeah, but I do think there's a whole deeper kind of avenue that the film could have went down, based on what you're saying. Yeah. Like, there's definitely, and something to make, because I mean, I don't think, I don't sit down and watch this film and really pick apart myself in relation to it, because it's not me. I don't see myself in these people. Whereas introducing that kind of extra layer makes because I do enjoy that, where something challenges me or how I might react in a situation, and I just don't think it does that quite enough. No, not enough. No, when it does it does really it extremely well. Yeah, that's where again it really. But again, like there's a lot of moving parts. They were hired to do the book. They made it again a bit. We didn't even talk about the Willem Dafoe stuff. I found all that kind of in the book. It's one scene. The guy is the same age as Patrick Bateman, and there's a great bit where he goes, he is wearing the exact same suit as I am, yet he's wearing it in a casual, thrown off kind of a way, which makes me uneasy. Like, it's something like that, and I'm like, that's just him, like, perfectly. Like, he's just like, it's this tiny little, this guy's a bit better than me at some fuck. And like, you can imagine Christian Bale with the cold sweat, you know. So again, I think I'll just finish up by saying I find it kind of ironic that in trying to make it, their idea was, let's make this really obvious, this guy's not a hero. And I think some of the choices they made are what made him a hero to certain people, with the way the structure of the film's more logical, and he does, oh, you insult me, I'm gonna fucking take you out. Like, that is a bit of a bro mentality. Oh yeah. And I think it's not like they set out to do that, but I think that's ultimately why it happened. And you go, like, I understand, they're like, how did this happen? Well, I'm like, well, that's where I think it came from. Whereas in the book, there's nothing likable about the guy. Like, he's losing his mind. It's very fragmentary. You can't see him. He doesn't, you know, obviously that's kind of unavoidable in a film. But yeah, ultimately I believe the idiom is they were hoisted on their own petard, which means blown up by your own bomb in Shakespeare's. I had to look it up once for a class. So there you go. Those are my final thoughts, I think. Yeah. So, I mean, just to wrap up, like, I mean, I'm just noticing here on the DVD, it says American Psycho, no introduction necessary. And I think that's very... do you know what? It's funny you mention that, because on the back cover of both magazines, hang on, is the same really nifty kind of poster image with a business card holder, and it says no introduction necessary, which speaks to how iconic it is. Yeah, it speaks to like how it was a thing in the public consciousness at the time. Like, this was definitely a big, apparently, in like, and the fact that it still is, because you say American Psycho, there's no introduction necessary. People know it's Patrick Bateman. People know what even if they haven't seen it, you know the character. Crazy, yeah. It's funny actually. The film 18s, I remember distinctly. My family were taking a holiday to New York. I was 15. I walked into the bookshop in Dublin Airport and I bought American Psycho. And I was reading on the fucking. I nearly finished it on the plane going over.
It's just
one of them. It just hit you at the right time.
Yeah. As a 16-year-old, as I say, I wasn't a huge edgelord compared to how I am now. I probably was a bit, but I say a big Limp Bizkit guy.
Yeah.
Remember, I bought a fucking red Yankee cap like fucking Fred Durst when I got to New York. Yeah. Jesus Christ.
Wire jeans around.
Anyway, I thankfully no. I did wear the fucking hoodies though.
I used to have a jumper that said "I am hip hop." And I'd wear me jeans right down around my arse, like, you know what I mean?
I remember
for all my brothers in prison, like, you know what I mean?
I remember thinking, man, break stuff really speaks to me. And I listen to it now, and I like, you can so completely hear, what the fuck were you angry? What right had you to be angry? Apart from you're a 15-year-old shithead, you know. But like, you listen and you're like, what has Fred Durst got to be fucking angry? Get the fuck.
Exactly, yeah.
Not to compare the two works of art or anything like that.
Yeah. I don't think there's any comparison, really.
Yeah.
Well, I think we'll wrap it up. Yeah.
Yeah. I would say it's a film worth seeing, despite all the nasty things I've said. You're kind of missing out on the conversation. You've got to
at least see it once. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, because it is just one of them films, and you never know, it may connect with you. Like, it certainly connected with me more than it did Seamus, but it may connect with you more than it did me, and it could be something that you really enjoy watching. But I think all in all, you definitely have to check it out. If you haven't, maybe watch it before you watch this, because we're not spoiling everything about it.
We should maybe mention that. I think that's kind of a given on these fucking things.
Yeah, exactly.
And don't forget to like and subscribe.
Yes, 100%. Like, subscribe, leave a review. Yeah, all that type of stuff.
We're open to suggestions, what films you'd like to.
Yeah, 100%.
We're kind of thinking maybe films from this era, but something like The Departed, that kind of thing.
Yeah, and I've soft launched the socials and stuff.
Nice.
When I say soft launch, I mean I've created them. So next episode, I'll have them all ready to give you.
Guys, we'd love to have you back. That's all I can say.
Thanks very much.
Ciao. Oh no, see you later, right?
See you later, right?